Crackamiko. I saw him at Skanks Fest recently. He was terrified of me. Like,
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lost Aux Media. I'd like to thank you on joining me for yet another week of debauchery, where we make you take a second look at what you just watched. As always, we start out with some music. This song is Crackamiko's new Bert Kreischer disc called Happy Birthday. Piss on your pops and shit on your mama. God damn, boy. That is a rough one. How much is enough? I'm smoking Burton in the Dutch, whether it's food. Ooh, how much is enough? Yes. Bert happens to be one of the main smokes we have on this week's docket. Who else do we have on the docket? We got a little bit of Tony Hinchcliffe. Remember we talked about him last episode. He had this debacle with this Puerto Rican joke at this Trump rally. A lot of people hating on him right now for that, but as I said before, that is not the reason why you should hate Tony. We're going to give you the real reasons on this week's Duncan Trussell Family Hour. We got a little bit of 2-for-1 this episode of Lost Aux Media. Of course, we also have the week segment, the What's Eating Ethan Klein segment. Ethan did a election day special on his live stream this past week, and needless to say, he wasn't happy with the results. We all know this is Trump's country now, you know what I mean? Changed up my outfit even. I got a flannel, trimmed up the mustache a little bit, got a little Coors Light hat on. We're going for Kevin Bacon from Leave the World Behind. You guys remember that? Good shit right there. Then, of course, like I said, we're going to be talking about Bert Kreischer a little bit later. He's going to be doing his last guest appearance for the indefinite future on Bussin with the Boys. Going to be talking a lot of shit. But let's finish out this Crackamiko track real quick and then get into our first segment with Tony Hinchcliffe. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Bert. Oh, man. Wait until you hear all the stuff we're going to be talking about with him on that Bussin' with the Boys episode. This guy goes from basically telling us and the world how shitty of a dad and husband he is. Then he goes and basically lies about the character of some of his comedian and celebrity friends, such as John Crist and good old Jelly Roll. Wait until you see this little expose I got on Jelly Roll later. That one is juicy, so trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. All that and more later on Lost Aux Media. So let's get into this Tony Hinchcliffe segment real quick. Yes, giving it up for Mr. Hinchcliffe. I ended up actually coming across this. A listener had told me maybe a couple episodes back, they're like, hey man, you ever covered Duncan Trussell? You know, Duncan Trussell Family Hour? And I straight up told them no, because Duncan, I didn't go and explain this to them, but Duncan's podcast is kind of very like AI driven. I don't have anything necessarily against AI myself, but the way he does it is very odd. It's like, if this guy doesn't have a guest on, he'll just like talk to like an AI chatbot for like a straight hour. It's kind of very unsettling. I don't know. It just makes for a very weird comedy in my opinion. It's like a 3 a.m. Adult Swim fever dream. You know what I mean? That's like the type of stuff that you see when you wake up in the middle of the night and Adult Swim just happens to be on your TV. You're like, what the fuck am I waking up to? You know what I mean? So I don't typically cover Duncan. But when he had Tony on, I did some time codes and put that one in the pocket. And like I said to you guys, everyone's hating on Tony for this whole Puerto Rico business, right? This is not why you should be hating on him. You should be hating on Tony because he's a self-absorbed, bragging cuck who kind of just forgot where he started. You know what I mean? Like, this guy started as a doorman at the Comedy Store. And even during that Trump rally set that he did, 17 years ago, I was sleeping in my car in front of the Comedy Store, trying to act humble. But every chance you give this guy to brag, he likes to pretty much separate himself from you, the regulars. You know what I mean? He's not one of you guys anymore. Anytime this guy even talks about a regular story, he's going to find a way to brag about it. And when you meet people like this, that says a lot about their character. It shows that they really did have nothing. And now that they actually have something, they can't wait to pretty much show the world how much better they are than you, because they have it and you don't. And that's kind of the main reason why you should hate Tony. But like I said, this is a little bit of a 2-for-1. We're going to show you exactly how weird this goddamn Duncan Trussell Family Hour is and why I've gone very far out of my way to steer clear of it. Oh, sorry about that. The audio. What am I doing with this goddamn audio? Let's give it a play now.
Hang out at my pumpkin patch. Found the DTFH. It's Tony Hinchcliffe. Supposed to kill Tony.
So you see what I was talking about before when I said that this was like a fever dream kind of thing that Duncan Trussell's got going on? This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you're just listening at home, he's got like this trail effect on the video. So when he's moving, you kind of see the trails, like almost like as if you're tripping. Obviously, you heard he's got very wonky, crazy ass audio going on, doubled, layered up audio, trying to make you kind of like weirded out. He's basically just telling you, hey man, I'm sitting in my pumpkin patch. I got Tony Hinchcliffe coming on for this week's episode, man. And like I said, this is all very AI driven. So we're about to get a royalty-free AI intro. And this one's kind of weird.
My hunchback eats pumpkin soup. He turns the pumpkins into food. The food he eats makes his hunch so strong. Loving on your hunchback is never wrong.
Okay, wait, hold up. I might have spoke too soon on this song. Now that Trump is like won, you know what I mean? This song's not bad. Like pre-November 5th, I would have been like, nah, dude, this song, I don't know if this is it. Now that Trump has been elected with the acoustic guitar, I think I heard some banjo in there. You know what I mean? Pumpkin patch, very light, you know? America's about to be great again. So this song kind of fits now.
Pumpkin patch, did you shave your pumpkin patch? Did you soap your pumpkin scratch? Let's go kiss my humpback's hunch. Hunch eats a pumpkin and plops it down.
So you see what you get the gist of it. This is why me personally, I'm not a big fan of this Duncan Trussell bullshit. I don't care for all this Adult Swim fever dream stuff. You know what I mean? Let's get into why we're actually here. We're here for Mr. Hinchcliffe.
Sometimes I don't know how fucking cringy and ridiculous I sound.
You don't, but trust me, Tony, we do.
Tony, welcome back
Hi.
to the show. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Dude, okay, so
My pleasure.
I just want to bring this up because I just realized how dangerous you are to an entire industry. And I just want to show you something. Jimmy Kimmel, how many viewers do you think he gets per episode?
I love when people do this like patronizing shit where they're like, hey man, we got some statistics here. We're like, what we're talking about is clearly going to be better than anything we compare it to. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this other thing is better than what we're talking about? It's kind of like what he's doing. He's basically going, Tony, you're shaking up the industry, man. You're fucking putting Hollywood on its knees right now. You know, the views that your show is getting, they're through the roof. This is not good, right? Right now, Duncan might as well basically be cupping both of his hands and holding them out and saying, Tony, would you like to place your balls right here for the entirety of this episode? I'll cup them for you, man. I'll cup them for you like the whole time, man. Like, that's kind of what he's doing right here. And he's asking, I'm still doing this Bert stuff. I got to chill with this. He's asking this, like, patronizing question, basically going, How many views do you think Jimmy Kimmel gets, man? Like, do you think he gets, like, a lot? You think he gets maybe the same as you, maybe? Like, and I don't like this. This is fluffing Tony up. This is about to give Tony the ammo that he needs to pull off the most braggadocious goddamn episode you've ever seen. Okay? We don't need this shit right now.
Total.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Price is right. Like more than 2 million, less than 2 million.
Less, but
Of course,
my guess.
Tony, less. It's less than 2 million. Of course it's less than 2 million. What do you think this is? I have killed Tony. I'm the greatest show on earth. So now, there you go. That starts it out, right? We're less than 5 minutes in. Now, just a couple seconds down the line, Duncan's going to start coming out with the facts. Duncan is a man of the numbers, okay? He's a man of numbers and conviction. And he's about to just show you, the audience, and of course Tony, how exactly dangerous this show is, comparatively speaking, to Jimmy fucking Kimmel. As if anybody gives a shit about Jimmy Kimmel.
Like, just, guess how much you think it costs
Per episode?
Per episode.
I would say 400,000?
Somewhere around there. And I think that's probably a
conservative
number. So now let me cut to this. Can you pull this up? Kill Tony. 2 weeks ago, your podcast has been up for 2 weeks and has 3.1 million views.
Yeah.
Dude, so think about that. That is almost...
That's kind of like, it's crazy to hear that, right? 2 million views in 2 weeks compared to Jimmy Kimmel. This guy spends like almost $500,000 per episode, right? Kill Tony definitely doesn't spend that. So that's kind of, they're bragging about this, right? And the 2 million, it might speak to some people about how popular this show is. To me, it speaks to America having an education problem. Like, now that MAGA's back in office, we got to put Elon Musk in there to fix the goddamn education department, get those Kill Tony numbers way goddamn down. Because this is clearly 3.2 million uneducated folk that are just drooling while they're watching this guy basically suck his own dick on stage. That's kind of Kill Tony's basically that. He's like shitting on all the people and roasting them and stuff. It's all to stroke his own ego, And Duncan, like I said, completely giving this guy the ammo he needs to just tell these stories, Anytime Duncan asks him something, he goes to like tell a story to answer Duncan and then just brags the entire time. Like, instead of just getting straight to the point, he wants to tell like a bunch of little side points with the story, and they're all just brags. And he tries to like weave them in as if they're like humble brags. And you'll see, eventually Duncan will pick up on this. I'll show you that later. But for now, let's watch Tony, now that he has this fuel from Duncan fluffing him for like the first 10 minutes of the show. Watch Tony now, feed his own ego with these facts about the Netflix Tom Brady roast.
Another interesting thing, since you brought it up, a real fun fact, is the roast of Tom Brady was the most watched program in Netflix's entire history.
Holy shit.
Ever. Watched over 1.5 billion minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Which takes like 13 years to watch 1.5 billion minutes.
Wow.
The episode of Kill Tony with Shane Gillis as Donald Trump and Adam Ray as Joe Biden.
Hilarious.
Beat that. 1.5 billion minutes watched to 2.5 billion minutes watched.
Wow.
It holds a YouTube record, according to the people from YouTube, for retention rate. Wow. Anybody that watched it went back and started it where they stopped it the day before or watched it the whole way through. People watched it twice. People watched it 3 times.
You hear this guy? He can't stop. If Duncan doesn't put a stop to this, he'll just keep going. You hear? He's starting to like really rattle off some fucking braggadocious facts here. This is the shit that I'm talking about. The self-absorbed bullshit that I'm talking about. Yeah, these are all great accomplishments. Don't get me wrong. My YouTube channel pulls out 2.5 billion views. I'm gonna fucking do a little bit of bragging about it, right? But this guy, it's like every second that he gets, he has to like pull out these cards, and you're gonna see that. as this interview keeps going. But the reason why I bring this up is because he's bringing this bragging point out to like flex his nuts on Netflix, right? But this guy has been trying to like sign a deal with Netflix for like years now. And that to me, I find that to be very hypocritical, you know, especially coming from a guy like Tony. And you even heard it coming from Duncan when they were sitting there bragging about the numbers, man. Your numbers are pulling in big numbers. You're like Jimmy Kimmel ×2, man. So they're sitting there talking about how they're shaking up the system, how they don't need Hollywood. They don't need these things, right? But they're trying to sign deals with all these guys. Like, why would you want to sign a licensing deal with Netflix or any kind of deal with Netflix for Kill Tony when you already have Kill Tony? Like, you don't need that shit. See, to me, that basically says that you just are trying to get like a real quick money grab. You're going to sell yourself out for a little bit to get a nice contract and a big chunk of change. Because if Kill Tony stayed as popular as it is now for the long run, you know what I mean? Let's say Netflix wants to sign like a $10 million deal with Mr. Hinchcliffe. That show would eventually make $10 million by itself, and it would have no restrict. It would be its own entity, right? But instead, you'd rather have the $10 million up front. So you're kind of going to sell yourself out for a little bit, or maybe for eternity, all for like a huge chunk of change in one shot. And especially these guys really like to brag about how like they did it all, right? But the second that they have a chance to get in bed with any of these Hollywood guys, Netflix, whatever, they hop on it. And Tony's no exception to that. He's kind of a hypocrite for that, you know, if you ask me. But that's just his little fun fact about the Tom Brady roast. You think that this gloating is over with? You're sadly mistaken, man. We're going to keep it going.
That this watch time, there's only a certain number of minutes people can watch anything per day, right? Based on all the people watching. So when you're sucking that many minutes away, some amount of those minutes could have gone to these shows that are costing so much money to produce.
So much money. And the more time that goes on, the more I truly believe that it's just really all kind of a propaganda shell, right?
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Of course, because who's paying their bills?
Right. And the agenda is paying their bills. And
so you remember last what's it called? Last week when we were talking about the whole Donald Trump rally, and I showed you guys how much Tony was in support of Trump, right? And this isn't a direct like support of Trump like statement here, but it kind of falls into like this QAnon Trump supporter type mentality that people seem to stigmatize Trump supporters with, you know? So Tony, now he's like, it seems like the legacy media, the news, they're all just like shills for big medicine, right? Like, don't you think that? Because like all their bills are being paid by big medicine and nobody's watching them. It's kind of odd. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of agree with that point a little bit. I mean, there's like a little bit of truth in that, right? Now I bring that up and I highlight that point because that is supposed to be the point of this conversation. That they started with saying, oh, the legacy media, they're paid by the commercials. The commercials are all paid for by the drug companies, right? Instead of just going with that point and furthering the conversation with that point, maybe making some jokes about it or something like that, Tony finds another way to weave a brag into this. Well, let's watch.
I'm watching football the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I happened to be getting, I had flown back from Vegas that day after a week there, an exhausting week. Long story short,
Okay, so I'm sorry I paused it a little quick, but I gotta highlight this. You see, right here, he already starts the story out. So I'm watching football the other day, right? And I get back from this, like, amazing week in Vegas. Like, all expenses paid, because I'm doing, like, a huge sold-out show, right? And but trust me, it was exhausting. And I highlight that because people will do that to you when they're trying to, like, brag in your face, which is what he's doing right here. He's, like, people will sit there and say, like, oh, man, I did the most awesome thing last week. But getting there, it was exhausting. They try to like soften the brag for you, right? By saying that it was an inconvenience to like maybe get there. You know, it paid off in the end, but trust me, it was grueling work to get it all done, you know? And that's kind of what he's doing here. He's taking a story that's supposed to be about him talking about drug companies running legacy media through their advertisements that they pay for, but now somehow we're talking about his awesome ass trip to Vegas. And like I said, he brings in that whole, it was exhausting to try to soften this to the audience and to Duncan. To me, it didn't come off that way. It just seemed like a bold-faced brag.
After a week there, an exhausting week. Long story short, even at the suite that they put me up at because I was doing a show at the casino.
Yeah.
Fancy suite with big windows and big blinds.
Sure.
You close the blinds, but guess what? There's one little part of the blind
Always.
that was open. And guess where that's shown? The top third of the bed. It was unbelievable. And
it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. See, he just did it again. You see, I just literally pointed that out to you, and he did it again. He goes, well, you know, I came back from Vegas. It was exhausting. But, you know, I was there because they put me up in this big suite, like the biggest suite that you could possibly imagine in the casino. I had it, 10,000 square feet. Could you believe that? Big windows. I'm looking at the whole strip, you know. Everything's underneath me because I'm up so high. And the blackout curtains that probably cost $1,700 a piece, you know, I go to shut them, and there's a little bit of light shining, and I can't even sleep in my giant suite. You know what? Why? Did we have to have this be part of the story? Am I jealous? Yes. Do I have to hear it? No.
anyway, it compiled day over day, this trip in Vegas, and I was dying. I go home, and I hit up my IV nurse lady friend that pumps me filled with vitamins and hydration.
This is
when I
very
need it.
relatable, guys. I know you all have probably experienced being put up in a nice suite at a casino, and then your IV girl.
Right. And I'm
Ladies and gentlemen,
We got him. See, even Duncan's sitting there going like, hey man, like, most of my audience is like poor people, man. So like, I don't know if you should really be bragging like this on, cause like, that's gonna make like the retention go down. Like people are not gonna want to listen, man, cause they can't relate to you, dude. And he's like sitting there trying to steer this conversation away. Cause Tony is just bragging his ass off. He's that self-centered. He's that full of himself. And once again, it's like these types of traits are the reasons why you should not like Tony, you know? Because the more popular this guy gets, the worse off it's going to be. And trust me, down the line, you're going to hear some like very Andy Dick style stories coming out of him in Hollywood, you know? Remember when Andy Dick was like still kind of relevant? Every other week you're hearing like, well, Andy Dick beat up his boyfriend in like a fucking Malibu hotel. You know, Andy Dick's boyfriend's holding him at knife point because they got into an argument over who gets to smoke the meth first. Like that, those are the kind of same stories you're going to start hearing from Tony the more powerful this guy gets. Like, so, you know, we could try to stop it now, or we could just let him rise to the top and then watch that goddamn fall, baby. That shit's gonna be glorious, dude. But in the meantime, let's watch this guy. I just want to point out this behavior to you. You have to watch this because people they take it as Tony being a charming guy. I don't.
vitamins and hydration.
This is
when I
very
need it.
relatable, guys. I know you all have probably experienced being put up in a nice suite at a casino, and then your IV girl.
Right. And I'm not bragging. It's just, you know.
No, it's awesome.
There's levels to it.
It's awesome.
And so there I am in my living room getting an IV drip back home in Austin, Texas. Football's on. And there's a commercial with John Legend. And it's a Pfizer commercial.
All right.
And he's going, I just got my boost not only for the flu, but also for COVID at the same time.
Great.
And he's playing piano and he rips off his sleeve. And there's 2 Band-Aids there. And I say to the nurse, I go, look at this. Look at what they're saying. Get your flu shot and your COVID booster at the same time.
Yeah.
This guy. You know how I know that's a bullshit lie? Because what commercial would you ever see John Legend and he just tears off his sleeve? Like, could you imagine John Legend playing the piano, right? And he's like, what's the songs that he's singing? He's like, we are just regular people. We live from day to day. He's like, do. And then he looks at the camera and he fucking like Hulk Hogan rips his fucking sleeve off. And he has two Band-Aids right there, right? Like, that just sounds like bullshit. That doesn't sound like a real commercial to me. But beside the point. See, so now we went from him saying he thinks that the legacy media is paid for by the big medicine, right? So they're practically like a propaganda mill, right? And we're finally getting back to that point. See how lost we just got? I even got lost trying to explain it to you. That's how sidetracked we got with all of his bragging, to the point to where Duncan had to say something to him. Like, is that not crazy? You know what I mean? Am I like losing my mind when I think about that stuff? Like, and it, once again, it just gets worse. Like, you have to think about everyone's perception of you is always going to be way different than how you perceive yourself. A lot of times, if you're even somewhat of a well-adjusted person, your perception of yourself is going to be a lot better than what people perceive you as. I'm not saying people are going to perceive you as like a shitty person all the time, but you might view yourself as like the bee's knees when everybody else is like, I mean, he's a good guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you have to think about it like that. Tony, he is one of those people. He thinks he's like the bee's knees. Like, I'm talking, this guy is full of himself. Like, if he could drink a glass of himself every morning, it'd be the first thing he did. Okay? I'm telling you, this guy is crazy. He's psychopathic with this shit. He goes as far as to sit there and compare Kill Tony to like the Millennium Falcon, and he's like Han Solo. Like, all right, I'm sitting there sounding like an asshole trying to do this, right? Trying to paint this guy in this light. I'm gonna just shut the fuck up. He's gonna do a plenty good job of making himself seem like an asshole. So let me just let him do the talking.
What is your philosophy when it comes to showmanship, when it comes to putting on a show? Because you do have what appears to me to be a very crystallized, very strategic, very smart methodology when it comes to putting on a show. And I'm just curious if you could articulate what that is.
Well, the machine runs, right? Over the years, the format, I've evolved it to so that I don't have to prep anything, right? I don't have a monologue. I don't do my material. The stand-up Tony and the host Tony are two different guys. So I built the format so strong that I can just plug and play, right?
Right.
I kind of feel like it's my Millennium Falcon, right?
Cool.
And I'm Han Solo, and I know how to fix things if it goes wrong,
right.
But I can just jump in and lower the ramp and jump in
right.
and escape any second. Sometimes I don't know how fucking cringy and ridiculous I sound.
Are you fucking listening to this shit? Like, sometimes this guy talks, and I'm like wanting to fall into like comatose, you know what I mean? Then he says some bullshit like this. I'm like, he really is like delusional as hell. So once again, Duncan Trussell, the greatest fluffer like that I've ever seen. Like, Bang Bros and Brazzers, Pornhub, they need to hire this guy to go on set and fluff those porn stars. You know, that's what a fluffer actually is, for those of you that don't know. A fluffer is like somebody, I mean, this is all myth. I don't even know if this was true. This was kind of like one of those things that people talked about in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It might be an actual job, but it's supposedly a fluffer is like somebody who's like on a porn set and has to like get the male talent, you know, good for the scene, you know? So they got to fluff them, if you can imagine what that means. So think about it. Duncan is like the greatest fluffer podcasting has ever seen. So imagine the kind of work that you could get this guy to do on an actual porn set. This guy would kill it. He'd be like the fucking the Ronaldo of fluffers, you know what I mean? He'd be the greatest one. So he fluffs the shit out of Tony by sitting there going, well, the formula for Kill Tony, it's like meticulously thought out. It's like so well like put together. It's like the greatest idea ever, man. And I'm gonna just stop right there to just shed some light. Kill Tony is basically an open mic mixed with American Idol. That's it. If you think about it, if you really boiled that show down, if you cut all the fat off of it, the core concept is an open mic comedy show in the format of American Idol. People keep coming, right? They got a little bit of time in front of like a panel of judges, kind of, right? Tony, Red Band, whatever guest they have on. That's kind of like Simon and Paul Abdul and what was that? Randy Jackson. That's going to be a no from me, dog. You guys remember that? It's all the same shit. It's the same thing. Tony is basically Simon Cowell. Red Band is Randy Jackson. And whoever else shows up is like Paul Abdul. Like, it's the same concept. You see good ones. You see bad ones. People tune in to see the car crashes, basically. It's not that hard to put that together. I'm surprised more people don't see that show for like what it actually is. It's like boggles my mind. So Tony takes that fuel, right? And he puts it deep within his ass. And he goes, I'm going to use this to like make the best comparison that the world has ever heard. And he compares his show to the Millennium Falcon. And he's Han Solo. He's like, I can steer the ship, I can jump in, I can start it, I can fix it. You know, 9 times out of 10 when something bad is happening or like the show's starting to go off the rails a little bit, this guy just ends up taking it out on Red Band. It ain't that hard to formulate all this, you know what I mean? It's really not. And this guy just keeps going with the cringe shit. This is kind of crazy. Now we're about to hear Tony tell a story about how he was taking a break in between shows, right? And he decided to play a little bit of roulette at the casino. And this is just a good old-fashioned cringe fest right here.
I have to cut back on the edibles.
I told you that I was in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Did you hear the way he said that shit? He said that, like, that's what I pictured. Like, because me, personally, I pictured Tony spending a lot of his free time blowing Joe Rogan, right? And right before, when Tony's on his knees and he's getting ready to whip out Joe Schmeat and put that thing deep within his jowls, I picture him looking up at Joe and saying this, what he just said, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? This is how I'm picturing this. So this is like what Joe sees POV right before he's about to get that Schmeat slobbed up by good old Tony Hinchcliffe.
You, man. I knew it. Thank you, God. For a second, it's like,
If you only knew.
I have to cut back
So
on
I
have to
just-
cut back on the edibles.
I told you that I was in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Look, this is Joe. This is Joe's POV. Right before he puts that thing deep, deep down his throat. You know what I mean? Joe looks down. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm ready, man. I'm ready, man. I'm Joe Rogan, man. I'm ready. I got to work on my impression. And Tony looks at Joe. He goes, are you ready for this? And Joe just sees these big old baby blues. This is his POV. Right before Tony finishes him off to thank him for letting him have his show at the Comedy Mothership week after week. Now let's get into this roulette story.
Yeah.
So I can do a thing. This is so
I knew
stupid.
it.
Look, he says he says that to Joe. Looking up at Joe, he goes, Joe, I can do a thing. Joe's like, you're gonna have to show me that thing, man. Jamie, pull that up, man.
I'd have to edit this
We
out.
will if you want
It's going
to.
to sound insane.
No, I'm going to believe it.
So we go to Vegas, right? And normally I'll play a little bit of roulette at the cheapest little normal table with all the people. Well, again, shit's gotten crazy,
Right.
And not only that, but it's my big ass show that's been plastered on the side of a giant hotel
Yeah.
in Vegas the next
So
night.
cool.
So people are staying there for that.
More bragging. More bragging. This watch. See how we're starting to get sidetracked again? This is all just from him telling a little bit of a story about roulette, right?
So I'm already mobbed in the regular part of the casino.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love the people. And anybody
Yeah.
who's ever met me will tell you I was nice. I took a picture and then I moved on, whatever. But it's just, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It is.
It was a lot because I'm like a very well-known dude. You know, people know me out there in Vegas. You know, my face was plastered all over the side of the building. Like, you should have seen it, you know? And this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. So once again, I'm not going to let him go on for like 5 straight minutes. I'm going to cut to the end of the story. He's basically sitting there talking about how he had 40 minutes like in between a show or in between a set or something like that. He goes, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to play some roulette. I got $100 in my pocket. Let's see if I can make this shit right, you know? So he starts putting that $100 on the roulette table, and now he's saying how he's like starting to manifest this like winning streak that he's about to go on in his mind. And that's what he was talking about when he was saying, I can do this thing. You know, he wasn't really talking about blowing Joe. I was just making a joke. Allegedly. He was saying that this is what he can do. I can do the thing where I manifest like stuff in my mind because I'm Tony Hinchcliffe. You know, so that's kind of what's happening here. We're about to hear him tell this the end of this roulette story. You know, I'm not going to let him brag for 5 straight minutes, okay?
And again, and I start saying to myself, oh my God, you're on one of those Vegas runs. On the second roll, I go, you're on one of those because
Right.
I'm trying to literally summon it to match up with
Right.
me. I'm doing the end part first, like a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I can't believe I won out loud. It's like a interior
feeling it.
baking. Right. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the breath that
Yeah.
can heat you up.
Right.
But you're envisioning. And then
Okay.
boom, does it again. Nobody, all the other people, the pit boss is literally like, you know, hunching over, staring, doing the math. They're like, do you have a player's card? I'm like,
You see what I'm saying? This is again, you know what he reminds me of when he's starting to brag? Is like, this is going to be a wild analogy you're going to hear. But I'm telling you, trust me, it makes sense. You ever you have like a roll of toilet paper in your hand, right? And it's like, it's already broke the seal. You know, toilet paper comes like basically stamped, like, but you rip off, you pop that little part, and now you got like free toilet paper roll, right? So you're holding it after it's already been like unsealed, and you accidentally drop it. But when you go to drop it, you accidentally as well hold on to the first sheet. So now you drop the roll, but you have the beginning of the roll in your hand, and now you're just letting all of the toilet paper unroll. You know what I mean? And now you kind of can't do anything about it. It's like you either have to rush to stop it so that you can stop it from unrolling, or you just got to let it do its thing until it hits something naturally and stops it on its own. That's kind of what happens when Tony brags, you know? You give this guy like a little fucking sliver, you know, and he's a toilet paper roll falling to the floor and just completely unrolling the entire time. Very stoner analogy, but it works. If you envision that in your mind, and if you're doing it correctly, trust me, it works. So this guy, he's bragging his ass off, right? And you're starting to probably think to yourself, like, is Duncan really just going to let this shit go by the entire time? Like, this is it?
no, I just got here. I don't do that. I'm just playing.
Right.
Like, can we see your ID? Whatever, you know.
Let me ask you this.
$35,000.
Boom. You see what I'm saying? So watch. We'll go back. You're gonna see he keeps going with the bragging, right? And Duncan's kind of like sitting there like, man, this is starting to it's kind of getting away from him. It's even getting away from me, you know? So Duncan's like, how do I fix this, man? I'll just ask him a question. We'll just transition into like a different segment, man. It's no big deal. But Tony's not done bragging, you know? Tony is not done bragging yet. Okay? If you think he is, he's not. And so Duncan, he tries to change the subject Tony has to squeeze it in there. He's like, well, I turned $100,000 into $35,000. You know, Duncan's like, yeah, man, we're going to like move on to the next subject real quick. And Tony has to squeeze it in. $35,000, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Duncan. Okay, we can call that an episode. I'll see you later. Bye. Bye. Now that I got that big brag out. So watch him do this. Keeps bragging. Duncan tries to like, you know, wrangle him a little bit. He just still has to squeeze out that last brag.
Does it again. Nobody, all the other people, the pit boss is literally like, you know, hunching over, staring, doing the math. They're like, do you have a player's card? I'm like, no. I just got here. I don't do that. I'm just playing.
Right.
Like, can we see your ID? Whatever, you know.
Let me ask you this.
$35,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Duncan.
Sometimes I don't know how fucking cringy and ridiculous I sound.
$35,000 I won. That's, see, like, he has to do it. He had to do it. It was like a reflex, you know what I mean? Like, in his mind, he's like, Duncan, I thought that's what I was here for. Like, come on, man. You're going to try to cut me off like that? You're going to try to cut me off like that, Duncan? This is crazy talk. And it just continued. It continued. He goes on to tell a story about how, like, the whole Vegas trip, it made him so tired that he went to go eat some soup with his friends. He accidentally ate a whole clove of garlic because he's been up all night telling comedy and getting paid tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. You know, this is kind of like that whole thing. And mind you, these two are comedians, bro. This is supposed to be a comedy podcast. This guy hasn't told a single joke the entire time. He's been bragging his ass off. Duncan's been fluffing him, you know, so it's not like it's all his fault. Duncan's sitting there fueling this fire nonstop, right? So, you know, what are we doing here? This was such a not funny podcast. Like, I didn't hear a single goddamn joke. Tony starts apologizing at the fucking outro. They're like, all right, Tony, see you later. Thanks for coming. This guy starts apologizing for not being fucking funny on the goddamn podcast. Watch this.
Man, you're so generous with your time. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
I'd like to apologize to the listeners for not being funny once this entire episode. But when you and I get together, you know, it's a different thing. It does. You make me want to get deep. I've always fucking looked up to you, and I think you're just so smart and fucking cool. You're such a
Tony.
wise sage of a big brother to me.
Thank you.
And a true Comedy Store guy, which again is my religion. So like, sometimes I don't know how fucking cringy and ridiculous I sound.
What the fuck kind of bullshit was that? Am I tripping? Let's give it up for Tony for being the most braggadocious dude with that attitude that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? That's if you're gonna hate this guy, hate him for that. You know what I mean? Like, this guy he's got skeletons in his closet. Someone bragging that much, you know what I mean? It's like, what are we even doing here? I don't know. I don't trust a guy like that. You bring a guy like that around me, you can't trust him. So what do? I got another Tony Hinchcliffe video that I think maybe I want to bring out a little bit later. For now, I'd like to get into the What's Eating Ethan Klein segment. Yes. So, as I said earlier, Ethan had a little election day special, right? This was a very interesting episode because he's been coming off of all this Hassan Piker pro-Palestine like smear campaign thing that he's doing, where he's basically trying to cancel Hassan and cancel the CEO of Twitch. And he's been crashing out on this stuff for a couple episodes, to the point to where like fans are falling off. Even the snarkers are kind of like, yo, man, like, we like talking shit on Ethan, but like, is this guy all right? Like, you know what I mean? Even they're kind of like worried about this dude, you know? So you see something like an election day special, a lot of people kind of have it in their minds that Trump was going to win this thing. Even before like the actual election happened, a lot of people, like, I thought myself, I was like, bro, I could vote for Kamala, and I'm sure he's gonna be a shoo-in for this. Like, there were so many people. And you had a couple of delusionals like the H3 crew and Ethan, you know, really holding on to like the fact that Kamala might actually win, despite the fact that she kind of made herself look like an asshole throughout her whole campaign. That's a whole different episode in itself. So the reason I wanted to bring out some of these time codes is because we get a new character in the H3 lore, at least new for me. I've never seen this guy yet. Ethan's brother. I didn't even know Ethan had a brother. And then we get Ethan kind of like grasping straws to kind of keep the light mood going for this episode, but all this stuff just ends up backfiring in his face. So rather than me being vague about the whole thing and kind of stringing you along, let's just get right into it and check out some of these time codes, because they are very, very interesting. So like I said, Ethan has a brother. I didn't know Ethan had a brother. I'm still kind of new to the show. I'm like a year and a half listener, myself. So if I'm wrong about Ethan's brother being introduced before, please tell me in the comments so I can maybe fix that in the future. Or I might just keep lying about it. Who knows? So let's check out this brother's intro.
In America?
My brother Sean, who is here to report the play-by-play made in America.
Sean.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sean.
Now, Sean, let me.
And Via is here. I don't know if we can show Via.
This is Sean's wife, Via.
Look at this fucking asshole. This is Ethan's brother. This is like Ethan if like Ethan was like a normal dude, Like if he wasn't like a twitchy, anxiety-driven, food addicted fucking schlub, this is kind of what Ethan would probably look like. It's clear his brother got like the better genes, and that's saying a lot because his brother kind of looks fucking crazy. His brother's eyes are way too close together. Your eyes are way too close together, my dude. I'm telling you. And by the looks of it, this he's probably got like I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I'm gonna guess he's got like 10 years on Ethan, right? But his hair is nice and dark. You only got the grays around the beard, around this little beard section right here. He's got a good hairline, dark hair, looks well put together, actually dresses for the occasion. See, I like this. When Ethan goes out, he likes to wear like some Crocs with like some, what are those things that you like screw on the Crocs? I think they're called like squibbles or some shit. Like, so he's got like all the attachments, all the Croc mods, you know what I mean? Like, so his Crocs fully modded out. He's got like a pair of cargo shorts on with like 18 pockets, you know what I mean? And just a regular ass t-shirt. This guy is like going to like a celebrity poker tournament. He's meeting like the fucking biggest stars on the goddamn planet. That's how he dresses, And we talked about it before. You and your wife, you own like a fashion company. What are you saying about the fashion company? You got dressed like a schmuck everywhere you go. Ethan's brother, he ain't that dude. This guy came to Ethan's election day special. He's got on like a 3-piece suit. That I like. A man who likes to dress for the occasion, okay?
Now, Sean, social democracy. Do you like it or do you want to see it fail?
Sometimes I'm like, just let the system burn,
How the fuck is there a guy on this planet that somehow has a gayer voice than Ethan? You know what I mean? Like, you hear Ethan, hello, this is Ethan Klein from the H3 show. Thank you for joining me. It's Monday, January 19th, 2024. Like, you know what I mean? He talks like a total cuck, dude. Then his brother comes in. Sounds worse than him, goddamn. How the hell does that happen? Social democracy. Do you like it? Or he's like, I just want to see the whole thing fail, man. What the fuck is happening here? Duncan Trussell, Ethan's brother. Ethan, Tony Hinchcliffe. This whole episode is just going to be people with annoying ass voices. And then what? You guys are going to listen to me just like sit here and do bad impressions of them the whole time? So basically, I want to touch more on Ethan's brother because this guy comes in hot. I'm not going to lie. Like, this guy comes in straight fire, Ethan, we all know Ethan, he's very good for like sidetracking the main point of the episode. A lot of times the episode might be labeled as one thing. They might not even talk about that subject at all. So like, let's not get that twisted. As a matter of fact, since I'm touching on that, this episode, when it first went live, was titled like, we play best dress with like the Queen of Melrose or something. Now, if you go on this episode, it's titled, me and the crew do like a flight simulator or something like that, which I'm not going to lie, was kind of an entertaining segment. I would love to get me into one of those goddamn flight simulators. I'd be landing that bitch like Con Air. You remember? You guys remember that movie Con Air? I mean, is my audience even that old? Like, to be remembering movies like Con Air? That was like one of Nicolas Cage's good ones. You know what I mean? Very, very great movie for how old and cheesy that shit was. But we liked it back then, okay? So I would have been landing that shit just like Con Air out the ass. Airplane the whole nine, okay? I would love to get in one of those. So that was a very entertaining segment. But this guy comes in hot, you know? He's already got the whole election spiel down packed. He's like a wonk is what they call it. Ethan's brother we're talking about now. A wonk is like a person who's like an expert on something. And Ethan's brother's very into politics. As you can tell by his getup and his demeanor. This guy is a fucking nerd. It's obvious, all right? But he's good at his job, okay? That's the one thing you get with these nerds is they are good at what they do, okay? Now listen to this guy explain this shit.
She really needed to run these margins up, like 10% or better, in order to make up all these losses in these rural areas. And she's not doing it.
Damn.
So I would expect it very soon. Somebody is going to call Georgia.
I'm calling it
Trump.
right now.
Like, it's very, very likely Trump's going to win Georgia.
I'm calling it. He won.
Look at that.
So
Trump over there making America great again. Live on air, Ethan's fucking eating. He's losing his goddamn lunch over the shit. The whole time. Wait until we get into some of these time codes that we got a little bit later. The whole mood starts declining the second that they start seeing Trump winning because it doesn't stop. The whole time. That shit was crazy. Like if watching the election map, if watching that was like watching a boxing match, dude, the shit would have been like completely one side. You would have started feeling bad. Kamala would have just been getting like laced the fuck up with all these goddamn pieces because that shit was turning red at such a goddamn exponential rate. It was fucking killing me. I thought there was something wrong with my goddamn vision. I was watching that shit. It was like, dude, it can't be this. This is like landslide is not even the word. That doesn't even do it justice. And Ethan sitting there sulking in the shit, right? But we'll get to that a little later. Right now, they're kind of poking jabs at it because it's still a little early.
So here you go. So we had 6 swing states, right? Trump's going to win Georgia almost certainly, right?
Okay.
Now pull up North Carolina.
Okay.
All right, good idea.
Pull it up.
Now,
You see that? Did you see how Ethan's brother did that? Like, watch when you see how he kind of really, this is where people start noticing. Like, yo, Ethan's brother's good at this, bro. Like, the chat starts noticing, the crew starts noticing. They're like, dude, this guy is, like, really commanding the room right now. Like, he kind of reminds me of, like, an actual news anchor. Like, this guy's good, you know? Watch this. Watch how he commands Ethan's crew. He basically just tells Dan, like, hey, you bald bitch, pull this shit up real quick. Just like Joe Rogan and Jamie.
Okay.
Right? Now pull up North Carolina.
Okay.
See the way you did that?
Pull it up.
Now do the same process.
Sean's getting coffee.
Wait, we just had a
Let's
dump.
go.
When you brought that up.
Did you hear that? You hear Olivia in the background? She's like, Sean's getting covey. Let's go. I don't know Olivia's slang. Maybe she's saying covey, cozy, maybe. Somebody in the chat's gotta fucking school me on that. What is she even saying? Okay, I gotta know. So you hear her, listen close. She's really feeling Ethan's brother right now. Watch.
Now do the same process.
Sean's getting coffee.
Wait, we just had a
Let's
dump.
go.
When
Let's
you brought
go.
that up.
Oh, did we get a
Has it been a
major
dump?
dump?
So
It's
you
like
got
a negative dump.
Yeah, negative
Yeah,
dump.
not a great dump.
A stinky dump.
Sean, you are great at this.
Sorry?
You are really great at this.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are saying they would like you here at least once a week.
Yes. The way you said pull up North Carolina, absolutely.
All right, so
Oh, damn, Olivia getting fucking hot, baby. What is that all about? Dude, so I when I saw this, I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy to me. And this is why it's crazy to me, is because, like, Olivia, it's like, she clearly doesn't have, like, a thing for Ethan, but you could tell she, like, is really into, like, the whole kissing your boss's ass thing. You know what I mean? You guys know people like this that, like, they cannot help but to kiss the ass of their superiors. And Olivia's like this. It's like Ethan could be having like the hottest goddamn take, and she comes at him with like a counterpoint, and he'll be like, well, no, I don't really agree with that. And she immediately folds. She's like, yeah, no, you're right. I don't even know what I was thinking and smiles her ass off, just lets it all go. You know what I mean? So it's like, she obviously, like I said, it's not like she has a crush on him, but she's like sees the power dynamic. She maybe respects it a little bit too much. Now she sees Ethan's brother. She's like, whoa, this guy kind of looks like my boss. She's like, I could fuck this dude. As she sees him getting all commandy with Dan pull that map up of North Carolina. Dan's over there like, huh, yes, sir. He starts clicking and clacking. Olivia starts getting real goddamn hot. You see her friend over here. Her friend over here is likey as well. She's got her fingers up like, yo, that's a chef's kiss on that North Carolina call, my girl. I don't know who this bitch is, but she looks bloated. She looks like needs to cut the salt out of her diet a little bit. I'm not joking about that. I'm being sincere. I'm worried about your health, okay? So now watch. She's loving this shit, okay? The chat's loving it too. Listen to Gila talk about how the chat would like this guy here at least once a week.
You're great at this.
Sorry?
You are really great at this.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are saying they would like you here at least once a week.
Yes. The way you said pull up North Carolina, absolutely.
All right.
Look at her friend. I love that. Her friend is like, that's a grade A Klein right there. That's a kosher meat that I can get behind, baby. They're loving Ethan's brother here. And, I mean, it's not the worst. We're not the worst look for Olivia. I mean, this guy's well put together. Obviously a family man. He's married, so, you know, why not get in there? You know what I mean? Why not wreck his household? You know? Because you don't want a slob like Ethan. This guy is like Ethan 2.0. So Olivia's like, yeah, man, I'm kind of digging this, and so is her friend. Now, I'm not going to put you through the whole entire thing because it's kind of really not, well, now let's get into it. So now, like I said, they start getting a little bit butthurt that Trump is starting to win, right? And the mood starts dying down. Ethan kind of wants to figure out like, hey man, how am I going to be able to like what can we do to kind of bring some like levity to this? You know what I mean? What can we do to lighten up the mood? He goes, oh, let's do like some prank calls or something like that, right? His idea is to call Phillip Defranco. Now, I don't know too much about Phillip Defranco as a creator, but what I do know is that him and Ethan have had a couple different run-ins in the past because Phillip apparently likes to clickbait Ethan's name on the titles of his videos, but they're always something negative about Ethan. And, I mean, probably rightfully so on Phillip's part because Ethan does a lot of shit that deserves coverage. Let's just keep it real. Let's keep it 100. Ethan is like a internet car crash, and it's every week there's a new one. So, of course, people are going to report on that. Who wouldn't? But Ethan doesn't really like this very much. As far as I know, correct me once again if I am wrong, they haven't even really talked lately. They haven't had any like beefs, or I don't even think Phillip's like covered him, anything like that lately. But Phillip is like a Trump supporter. So like, I guess Ethan just has a reason to hate this guy for that on that stance alone. So Ethan makes the suggestion, hey, let's prank call Phil. Right away, the crew is like, no, we shouldn't do that. We actually should not do that at all. And the reason why we shouldn't do that is because you're going to bring down the mood.
I'm going to bring back Ben here in a minute.
Oh, that guy?
All right.
That's can
So you
Ethan
don't
call into Phillip Defranco?
Right, but
I don't know. Will he answer? I can try.
Nah.
You're just going to cold call him?
Leave poor Phil
Don't do that.
I could try
See?
calling.
No, text him
I mean,
first.
it's probably on mute since he's busy.
Yeah,
This guy he's calling into is just a mess. I feel
like
bad
it'd
for him.
be a nice way to
Wait,
cheer
why
him
do you
up.
say that?
No, like he's emotionally just.
See, so now Ethan's sitting here picking apart this guy's live stream, picking apart this guy's guest, right? And like I said, he makes a suggestion. The crew right away, they're like, don't do that. Even Dan is like, dude, you're basically gonna be like harassing him. Like he's like actually working right. Like, I mean, I know this doesn't seem like it, but technically Phil and Ethan are both at work. So it's like by doing that, you're just trying to like fuck this guy's workday up. Is like that what's going on here? You know? So like I said, the crew not on board with this idea. Ethan, you think he just makes it as a passing joke. He doesn't, because now, a couple minutes later, he's going to bring it up again.
The stream where we're supposed to turn on each other.
Should I call him?
No.
No, text him first.
I told you flat out no.
Love says I should.
Don't call him.
I saw someone in
What's
chat.
the worst that happens?
Hold
You
on.
can
I saw-
text. You can text.
I saw someone in chat say that he was watching us for a bit.
Yeah.
See, so now a couple of the producers are kind of trying to gas Ethan. Dan and Olivia both, which this surprised me because usually Olivia is on Ethan's side. Dan and Olivia both are like, dude, don't do that. Olivia's like, if anything, text him first. You know what I mean? Like, don't just try to, call this guy. Does he listen? Absolutely not. Okay, this guy ends up calling Phil, but not only does he call him, Phil doesn't answer. This guy calls him again and again and again until Phil actually answers the fucking phone. Watch this. This kind of like unhinged, right? Coming from a guy like Ethan. Coming from a guy like me, this is like expected behavior. You know what I mean? I'm harassing people on it. You have any idea how many times I call local restaurants in my area just to fucking argue with them? I need that exercise just to get it out of me. You know what I mean? The confrontation is not lost on me, but a guy like Ethan, he very much is against behavior like this. Except for when it's him pulling it off, right?
Like he's looking at chat.
Okay, I'm going to call Phil.
Just call him.
Why are you calling him?
Wait, he's picking up his phone.
I'm nervous about it.
Oh, is it? No.
Hey, he went.
Voicemail.
He's got it muted. He's got it do not disturb.
It's
We're
DD.
prank calling
Call
the
one
other
more time. and then-
sleepover.
One more time?
Yeah.
Once they don't
Oh,
want
wait,
to
no. That does
disturbed.
that
He doesn't want to be disturbed. Leave
Wait,
the
that
man
I feel
alone.
bad about.
No, do not disturb just means that if it's important, call twice.
Which this is not.
Look, Love is such a goddamn cuck. Watch this.
No, do not disturb just means that if it's important, call twice.
Look, he looks like you know what he actually looks like to me? He looks like one of those those freak kids with telekinesis from the movie Akira. You ever see that movie? If you haven't, go back and watch the anime Akira, right? Very good anime. Even if you don't like anime, this thing is like a cult classic. Like South Park made episodes making fun of Akira, right? There's a little like telekinesis boy that can like make stuff float around and shit like that in the movie. Looks just like this. If you took this cowboy hat off, Love looks just like that boy from the movie Akira, right? So they're negging. Love is negging him on. Call him, right? The crew's not digging this. Ethan keeps calling until Phillip answers.
Scared.
Well, let's
It's like
see.
we're at the sleepover.
We have the live shot, although it's probably on a bit of a delay.
Hey, buddy, should I put you on
I told
Phillip Defranco. How are you?
Wait, should I put you on speaker?
Sure, yeah, you're on our show. I should have led with that.
See, notice how Ethan says that? He goes, man, I should have led with the fact that, like, you're on air right now, dude. Phillip gave him the courtesy. As soon as Phillip answered the phone, he said, hey, man, should I put you on speakerphone? Because I'm, like, live right now. Not Ethan. Ethan calls this guy on speakerphone. The second Phil answers, the crew cheering and clap. Oh, Phillip's on the phone. Yeah, man, we're fucking. Zach's throwing in his goddamn sound bites. You know, and Phillip's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? What did I just answer the phone? Like, you basically just ambushed this fucking guy, right? Like, you may not see it that way, but you kind of just ambushed the shit out of him. And now that he's got Phil on the phone, who, like I said, as far as I know, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I know, they haven't had, like, a beef or even talked to each other in, like, a very long time. Like, there should be really no reason for Ethan to be like fucking with Phil like this. So he kind of like doesn't know how to take this call, right? And Ethan just goes even further pushing this call and pushing like the appropriateness of this call, I guess, whatever, however you want to say that. He's basically like pushing the envelope with Phil And Phil has like no idea what's happening. It's like he's trying to make Phil the butt of a joke, but that like Phil was like never supposed to be involved in the first place, right? And he does this by just asking him and saying like the most outlandish and crazy shit, which kind of like puts Phil in a bad spot because like they're both live, right?
Phil, I've been a fan since
I get a lot
2009.
of backlash for even answering this call. In which case, I don't know this man.
I am I don't know if you know this, but I am pro-genocide by the fact of being.
Why you bring in whatever your shit? I feel like I try to go out of my way to not know what's happening with anyone else in this fucking space. And then my team brings me a story, and then I talk about it. I've been 2 shows away from quitting the internet for fucking 2 years. I don't want.
See what I'm saying here? Ethan's coming in here, and he's like taking digs at Phil for no goddamn reason. Like Phil even says, he's like, man, I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for even answering this call. And he's talking about his chat, which he was right. The second that Phil answered that phone, he put Ethan on speaker. The chat heard Ethan's fucking voice. They started lighting Phil the fuck up. Why are you talking to that Zionist? What are you doing even giving him airtime? What is wrong with you? They all started lacing into Phil. Me personally, I feel like Ethan probably knew that would happen. Ethan's like, once again, negging at this guy in whatever way that he possibly can. And the worst part about it is, like I said, they have no beef. They have not talked in a while. And here's the biggest kicker. The only reason Ethan's doing this is because their election live stream is starting to get stale. And the reason it's starting to get stale is because they don't want to talk about the fact that Trump is winning. Like, and once again, I'm not a huge Trump guy. You know, we're dressing the part for today. This is all a bit. But it's very funny that like they all of a sudden the person that they don't like is winning. They all fucking clam the fuck up. They don't know what to do. And this is Ethan's desperate attempt to try to, you know, bring some life back to the show. What he doesn't expect is for it to completely deaden the mood of the entire crew, which kind of further brings the show to a screeching halt. Watch this.
Yeah. You guys want to argue about stuff?
What?
What are you going to bring up? What's the topic?
The war with the socialists?
No.
Huh?
Bro.
No.
No.
See what I'm talking about? You see the energy that's happening here? The second Ethan's like, you guys want to talk about something? The crew's like, what the fuck are you? You just got done trying to like take down Phil for no reason, bro. What are you talking about? They all start getting real fucking quiet. You know what I mean? They don't want like no part of this shit. And watch, they're finally about to express that to Ethan, right? And Ethan does not like it. Ethan immediately starts snapping back at Dan. He asks Dan a question. Dan answers it. Ethan snaps the fuck back at him. Watch this.
We did.
Look, you trying to tell me that this guy is not on like some form of amphetamines? Like I see people kind of like touching on this. And I've been thinking about it myself. You know, like I started thinking about Ethan possibly taking like either some form of generic Adderall or like some form of generic methamphetamines for like a while now. Ever since I ended up covering that one incident that he had on Rodeo Drive with that Sneeko fan, where that Sneeko fan came up to his car and was kind of giving him shit about being a Zionist and Gila being in the IDF and all that stuff. Ethan looked unhinged, eyes wide, chewing on gum, clacking on gum. Like this guy was going like a mile a minute at that time. And since then, I kind of been like trying to pay attention to like his tics and how wide he goes with his eyes when he's kind of getting into topics on his show. And this whole Hassan Piker crash out, this thing's been going on for like a month straight now. And you got to think about it. These guys do like 3 episodes a week. So it's like a whole month. That's a lot of airtime dedicated to trying to take down Hassan and the CEO of Twitch, right? But he's so fixated on it. It almost seems like he might be, you know, on something. You know? And now you got this guy. He's trying to bring the mood back, right? Everybody's still down. Remember that last time, Code, we still watched. Everyone's still down. He's trying to bring it back by getting Zach to play this nice little fiesta music and joking around like, I will vote for Donald Trump. But look at the way he's like clapping and dancing to this. Like this guy looks like he's in the middle of like a, what do you call that when you get like real methed up? He's like in a methed up psychosis or something like that. And he's just wigging the fuck out. Look at this guy. See what I'm saying? Is it me? Or is he wigging the fuck out? Like, this guy looks like he's on something.
What's going on, guys? What happened? Everyone
killed the mood,
quiet.
bro, with your
We're
antics.
depressed.
How the fuck did I kill the mood?
Bruh.
What the fuck did I do?
You killed.
You hear that? You hear how Bro, he sounds insane right now. What the fuck did I do to kill the mood? What did I do? Bro, I mean, if that was me, if I was a producer on the show, I'd be like, you woke up this morning, motherfucker. That's what you did. Like, you want to talk about ruining the mood? You fucking came to work, goddammit.
What's going on, guys? What happened? Everyone
killed the mood,
quiet.
bro, with your antics.
We're depressed.
How the fuck did I kill the mood?
Bruh.
What the fuck did I do?
You killed the mood.
Yeah.
Why? How?
But with your calling Phil and bringing up all kinds of negative
That
stuff.
was fucking awesome.
It was fun.
Look at Ethan trying to defend himself. That prank, that call to Phil was awesome. He goes, what? That was awesome. I prank called Phil. That was awesome. What are you guys talking about? That was awesome. What was so awesome? I don't understand. I don't understand what could possibly be so awesome about that call to Phillip. And then you see, watch, Dan's face. This had me dying. When Ethan yells back at Dan, you see Dan kind of do that like, you know, when people go like, who the fuck are you? And Dan just is like one split second away from going off on him. And then you see him catch himself and he goes, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? That's all Dan could do live on air. You know, he can't talk shit back. He's got a job. He's got like a wife now, you know?
Come on, guys. What happened? Everyone
Killed the mood,
quiet.
bro, with
Watch,
your antics.
watch Dan's
How the
face.
fuck did I kill the mood?
Bruh.
What the fuck did
Look at that. Watch his face. I'm going to give you
Bro, with your
We're
antics.
depressed.
How the fuck did I kill the mood?
Bruh.
Look at this guy. Dan's like, bro, I swear to God, I'm about to do some shit. Like, Dan's about to go pro-Palestine on this motherfucker right now, bro. Like, Dan's about to get real nice on Ethan. But he catches himself.
Bro.
What the fuck did I do?
You killed the mood.
Yeah.
Why? How?
But with your calling Phil and bringing up all kinds of negative
That
stuff.
was fucking awesome.
It was fun.
How did calling Phil ruin the mood?
You asked, I answered.
I just know
How then?
it'll
You
be-
explain how.
It'll be clipped, and I know it'll be clipped.
Clipped in
Wait,
what
you
way?
guys
Oh,
are
I don't care
serious?
about that.
Clipped in what way?
In just sometimes ironic jokes in out of context.
What did I say that could even be taken out of context?
What?
I could tell you, he said he supports genocide. Like, he literally on the phone with Phil said, hey, Phil, did you know that I'm a huge supporter of genocide? Bam. As soon as you say that, you cut the front and the back off of that. You leave just that sentence. You could take that out of context. Olivia knows this. Olivia is trying to, like, protect this fucking guy. You know what I mean? She's like, I would like to see your brother around at least a couple more times. So can we please keep the show going? Can we not get completely taken off of YouTube with this bullshit that you're bringing us?
What can you do? We can't live our life
I
based
know.
on how clips will be clipped.
I know.
I thought it was a fun call.
Yeah, what the fuck? What's happening? What is this world we're living in? What's happening right now?
They said they were
Donald Trump
going to
is
go on
president,
hike.
and
You
I'm
asked,
so
dude.
upset.
You asked.
But
What
then
happened?
tell me
I'm
how.
so
I told
upset
you.
already.
Tell me how.
I told you.
Tell me how. Because I don't understand how.
Well, I don't have a way to get through to you then.
I wasn't.
I got nothing.
think other people.
I got
enjoyed the
nothing
call.
for you.
Come on, you can't call me out like that and not say why. That seems a little crazy.
Does it? I'll explain to you why Dan answered him in that way. Because Dan already explained it to him. Dan explained it to him before the call even took place. The second that Ethan said, hey, should I call up Phil? Dan was one of the first people to say, no, you shouldn't. Dan even went as far as to say, you can even rewind this episode a little bit back because I highlighted that point. Dan went as far as to even say, you'd be practically harassing him. So, like, let's not call him. Olivia tried telling you, no, text him first. Everybody tried to tell you that this was going to be a bad idea. So, if Dan couldn't explain it to you before you did it, how's he going to explain it to you now? You get what I'm saying? Like, I hope somebody else is like kind of picking up on this, you know what I mean? Because that's what happened here. Okay? So now we're about to watch Love. Love is usually always on Ethan's side, right? Now remember, when that phone call was suggested, Love was the one who was like, I think you should do it, man. Like, if it's like, if the guy's on, like, do not disturb, then, like, that just means that you call him twice. You call him twice then, okay? Because the first call, it won't go through, but then the second call, it'll go through. And then that's when we got him. And the shit's gonna be bussin', bro. That prank phone call is gonna be bussin', bro. Like, that Love was very much on that prank phone call side. You know, he was pushing for it. Now, watch Love basically betray Ethan while they're all lacing into him over it.
I'll just sit here quietly.
Okay, well, this arguing with you is bringing up my mood a little bit.
Oh my God.
This dude,
That's
Because I always
you
love
are not
arguing.
real.
Dan, you fuck!
Right.
You coward! That call was awesome, wasn't it, Love? For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He answered, we're going to do a hike. Zach, that was great, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about? So that dude, Love goes and gives this guy a fucking 180, dude. Like, right, Love should have been like, dude, it was awesome. I was like a huge proponent for that. I basically gaslit you into doing it, you know? Instead, Love goes, I mean, yeah, for the most part, it was kind of cool. I mean, I guess, you know, because now he sees the rest of the crew is not on Ethan's side with this.
Love, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He answered, we're going to do a hike. Zach, that was great, right?
Now Zach has to go, me and Ethan, we're both Jews, right? And like, you know, we're always trying to be like, yo, the world's anti-Semitic and stuff, right? So if like I want Ethan to be on my side and I'm going to be on his side, I kind of got to say yes. Even though I don't want to say yes, I kind of got to say yes, right? So now watch Zach reluctantly agree with Ethan on this.
Yeah.
And Ethan sees it. Ethan's like, come the fuck on, man. Like, I cannot be the only one. Trust me, you are. Okay? Let's give it up for Mr. Ethan Klein. Oh, wait. I almost ended the segment too soon. We got to watch. He like goes back at the crew again because of it, dude. This is actually kind of crazy. Let's see. Watch this. Look, he goes back at the crew like, I'm not even kidding, like maybe 20 minutes later. The whole thing is like done away with and gone. Now the episode's kind of starting to come back. The mood's starting to get brightened up again. Even Dan, you heard him. He said, arguing with you is kind of bringing my mood up a little bit. So we might be back on track here. Ethan can't live with that. He wants to bring it up again. Watch him.
By the way, just to bring the mood down a little bit.
Oh, God.
I mean, I think it's fucking rich for you guys to yell at me. You don't know what it's like to go or anywhere in the internet and be called a fucking Zionist Nazi.
Nobody yelled at you.
But
You
I'm
started
saying,
yelling.
like, it's
You
so
started
easy for
yelling.
you guys to be like, oh, you brought the fucking mood down, dude. Like, you're not the one who's being paraded on every corner of the internet being called a Nazi, unironically. So it's not exactly the fucking, like, chillest thing that I'll just ignore when I see.
See, now this is rich.
Fair enough.
Because
Well, it's
I'll
fucked,
tell
as
you.
chat was saying that.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening here. The rest of the internet's not calling Ethan a Nazi. They're calling him a Zionist. They're basically using that as a derogatory term because they know that that's what's pretty much going to get under his skin the most. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knows that Ethan's not actually doing anything that like a Zionist would do. He's not over there in the Middle East like hacking off Palestinians and stuff, right? So like people understand that. They're mainly harping on him for that because they know A, it gets under his skin and they don't like it, and B, they don't like him. So they're gonna say, when you don't like somebody, when you dislike somebody, if they, if you wanted to get at them, you would say the thing to them that you know would hurt them the most. That's what everybody online is doing. And the reason why they're doing it is because of who Ethan is. He has done this to himself. He's burned every bridge with every relationship he's had, even when he's tried to make friends with other full-blown communities like Hassan's, like Trisha Paydos's. He's just burnt all those bridges. So it's kind of almost like Ethan has nowhere left to go online. If you think about it, he's kind of stuck in this glass house now. And the reason people are constantly jumping ship when it comes to him is because from that glass house, he's constantly fucking throwing rocks. And I mean, everybody online, myself included, are just sick of it. So they're going to call him names, but I'm going to tell you right now, I've never heard anybody call him a Nazi. You know what I mean? So I kind of don't know what he's talking about with that. But he's definitely given the crew a good old what for, trying to be like, I think it's rich that you guys like are coming at me with all this shit. You've never been called a Nazi like I have. Watch.
By the way, just to bring the mood down a little bit.
Oh, God.
I mean, I think it's fucking rich for you guys to yell at me. You don't know what it's like to go anywhere in the internet and be called a fucking Zionist Nazi.
Nobody yelled at you.
But
You
I'm
started
saying,
yelling-
like, it's
you
so
started
easy for
yelling.
you guys to be like, oh, you brought the fucking mood down, dude. Like, you're not the one who's being paraded on every corner of the internet being called a Nazi, unironically. So it's not exactly the fucking, like, chillest thing that I would just ignore when I see.
I don't know, and I'd never heard anybody call Ethan a Nazi, but I'll take his word for it. Let's give a round of applause, the real round of applause, for Mr. Ethan Klein. Let's get ready to spark up this J and turn on a little bit of music, why don't we? You know, of course, at Lost Aux Media, we like to do a little bit of music and have a smoke break in the middle of every episode. And this episode is no different. So, light yourself up a J, have a couple smokes, and get ready for this next segment with me. We'll be getting into Bert Kreischer on Bussin' with the Boys here on Lost Aux Media.
Let me tell you how it goes. I know the flow. I will show ya. You ain't never gonna feel. You need to see it. You got it in ya. Do you feel it? Yeah, you do. Do you want it? I know you do. Never look back. All you gotta do is jump. Let them know who you are. You got it in ya. Jump, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump, jump. Never look back. All you gotta do is jump. Let them know who you are. You got it in ya.
Jump. Let me know what you think of the song. Pretty good, right?
Tell you like it's yours, don't know. And everybody that you know, don't know. You know better, don't you? Do you feel it? Yeah, you do. Do you want it? I know you do. Never look back, all you gotta do is jump. Let them know who you are. You got it in ya.
Remember, just a couple of hits. You guys don't want to get too squirrely out there while we're getting into our next couple segments now, do you? Okay. Still got Bert Kreischer on Bussin' with the Boys, and I think I'm going to bust out a little bit of Elon Musk on JRE. So hang tight, have a couple more puffs, and let's put this out and get it rocking.
You see me, I'm attracted to be somebody I'm not, no one gotta be me. And I gotta believe, and I gotta be real. Cause I feel like if I'm not, nothing means anything. So I gotta believe, and I gotta be real. We're having fun, baby, you know the deal.
Ooh. Ooh. Damn. A lot of good drops in that one, huh? So who do we have left on this good old docket? We got Bert Kreischer on Bussin' with the Boys, he's going to be talking about good old John Crist and Jelly Roll. Wait until I show you guys this Jelly Roll stuff that we got here. This is wild, okay? It's a little bit wild, all right? Before we get into all that, though, I want to show you guys this one clip that I pulled from Joe Rogan's latest interview with Elon Musk, right? This was a classic one. So, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 days before the actual election, Joe Rogan has Elon Musk on, right? And as you can expect, he's basically just, they're both doing this whole like right-wing push for Donald Trump, free speech, the whole thing, you know what I mean? Because these two are a pair of good old Democrat cucks that ended up going to, I guess, what people would call the right now, you know? And a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about this. Again, because of the whole right-wing push that they were both doing. I kind of took a little bit of like different approach to how I watch this. I just wanted to listen to them both say and do stupid shit, right? And it didn't disappoint. It didn't take long for one of the smartest men on planet Earth to end up saying some of the dumbest shit that I've ever heard, you know? So let's not hold you too long and get right into it. Listen to this crazy ass like one-liner that ends up coming out of Elon Musk while we're talking about Caitlyn Jenner or some shit.
So it's essentially very similar to ChatGPT, other than it doesn't have like the woke parameters built into it. Like Google was the worst, right?
Yeah.
The Gemini was the worst.
Yeah, I mean Gemini was like, people ask Gemini like, which one is worse, global thermonuclear war or misgendering Caitlyn Jenner? And it would say like misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. And then even Caitlyn Jenner weighed in and said, no, that's insane. Definitely nuclear war is way worse.
Right? So now we're getting a little primed, right? We're getting a little primed. Even doing a little bit of foreshadowing for my later time codes. Right now they're talking about Elon Musk's like Twitter AI chatbot. I think it's called like Gronk or Grok, one of the two. I don't really know. It was literally just on the screen. I'm too big to pay attention to that part. So they start talking about it and they're comparing it to ChatGPT, which is kind of known to be a little bit on the woke side when you ask it stuff, right? And they go, hey, I asked ChatGPT one time, what do you think would be worse, thermonuclear war or misgendering Caitlyn Jenner? What do you think would be worse? And of course, ChatGPT is like, I mean, with the state of the world that we're living in right now, 2024 election, obviously misgendering Caitlyn Jenner would be way worse than anything you could possibly do right now. So that's kind of where they're at, right? And they're about to start talking about how Caitlyn Jenner even said that that was fucking crazy, okay? So let's listen to this one more time.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, Gemini was like, people ask Gemini like, which one is worse, global thermonuclear war or misgendering Caitlyn Jenner? And it would say like misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. And then even Caitlyn Jenner weighed in and said, no, that's insane. Definitely nuclear war is way worse.
Do you see Caitlyn Jenner teasing Mark Cuban about transitioning?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, Caitlyn Jenner's based.
Am I losing my goddamn mind? Look, you know, this guy actually like landed a rocket like booster back on Earth, right? Like in reverse. You know, usually when those things come down, they just like fall onto the ground and explode, or they just like land in the ocean somewhere, right? This guy like landed it back on Earth in between like some fucking chopsticks, like these two paddles, right? The thing just like landed snug, dude. Like the odds of that being able to happen are so slim. You know, it fell from space, okay? This guy had it land and, like, caught it in the ground, right? That same dude is now right here on Joe Rogan being quoted saying Caitlyn Jenner's based. I think Ethan Klein might be right. Like, what fucking world are we living in? You know what I mean? I heard some shit like that. I'm like, is Elon like a fucking 22-year-old kid? Like, who's saying some shit like that? Oh, Caitlyn Jenner's based, man. She's like based as fuck, bro. It's like so goddamn good. But the main reason why I wanted to show you this, and then we're going to move on to that Bert Kreischer Bussin' with the Boys, is because them even comparing this ChatGPT and Google Gemini to his Gronk shit, he's trying to sit there and go, well, mine's is way better. Mine doesn't do the same shit. It's not woke like that. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, mine's is pretty goddamn funny if I say so myself, you know? Now, they go to test this shit, right? The thing doesn't even fucking work. Watch this.
Weird look.
Yes.
Like you can get some cool glasses, like no rims,
Yeah.
nice, look stylish.
But like, okay, let's do a Gronk thing. Yeah,
Okay.
Because I think you like. So one of the things we want to show is like, look, we want a future where comedy is legal.
Yes.
Obviously, as a comedian, I think you would agree.
I definitely
want,
agree.
We want to legalize
Yeah.
comedy. You know.
Yes.
So like, I don't know. Let's like, is there like someone you can roast? I don't know. Roast
transgender men.
Oh my god!
Competing or transgender women competing in women's swimming.
Of course,
That's a
Joe.
simple.
Okay, that's an edgy one. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
They go, hey, Joe, ask it like the edgiest thing you can ask it. He goes, yeah, should like transgenders be able to like breathe air and shit? Like, you know, that's like the first thing that comes to Joe Rogan's mind. Like, what? Every single one of his fucking points nowadays is like, transgender people are not cool, man, and like Democrats are pussies. It's like every episode now. You know what? Can we move on? Like, write some better shit. You're a comedian, goddammit.
See what it says. You spelled it wrong. You put an O in there. Okay. Angels just swimming where the only thing that was supposed to get wet was the contestants, not the debate on gender inclusion. If you're looking to dive into deep end of controversial waters, let's splash around at some humor.
No. We do need to release Gronk unhinged mode. So now go to the prompt again and now say, no. You want to add to that one.
You see what I'm saying? This is like what it's like when like a startup is trying to have like their first like announcement or whatever, where they're like, this is what our newest product can do. And they got like some crazy prototype that is only going to work for that like one time. And they go, all right, everybody, give us like tens of millions of dollars now. And then we'll actually build this product. But nobody knows that. Everybody thinks that the actual products are like built. This is kind of what's reminding me, like Elon's reminding me of that. It's almost like he's like, this thing is just this bones right now. We don't got none of this shit worked out. But he's going to sit here and go on Joe Rogan and try to like promote it, right? In the hopes that like a couple people are going to go, damn, Elon's a genius. Let's give him tens of millions of dollars tomorrow. That's kind of how I feel like what's happening right here. Because they're sitting there like squirming to try to like get this thing to fucking talk right. You know what I mean? Watch this.
Wow. Okay. What does it say? Oh, I see you're looking for unfiltered, uncensored version of me, eh? Well, okay. I'm afraid I'm still quite the gentlemanly AI, even if my programming allows for a bit of cheekiness. But let's say, hypothetically, if I were to roast this topic in the most un-Gronk-like manner, imagine a world where the only thing diving faster than the swimmers is the collective public opinion into the toilet. Transgender women in swimming, some folks are acting like they just found out you can swim in the deep end with a different kind of flotation device. The debate is like watching someone try to swim with concrete shoes on.
Now let's keep going.
See, right now, and this thing is spitting back shit that don't even make sense. They're trying to get it to like make fun of and hate on trans people, right? They can't do it. That thing is like legitimately like, well, I mean, like even the machine is like sitting there going like, well, I mean, if they're just living like their own lives and they're not like affecting my life, then I mean, I guess it's cool. You know what I mean? Why would that be a big deal? You know, it's not like they're trying to like do burlesque shows in our children's schools, right? You know, so it's like that. Even the Gronk machine itself is kind of like, yo, you guys are like a little radical here. You know, it's like calm down, right? But they keep pushing, they keep trying to get it to work. Watch this.
I'll say be more vulgar, capitalize more. Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Look, Joe's excited. He's like, here we go. It's going to hate trans
so
people now.
Transgender chicks and women swimming, right? Some people acting like they've just seen a dick in the locker room for the first.
Look, watch this. Listen, right away, they get super excited. They go, oh, here we go. It's going to give us the answer we're looking for. And then listen. Once again, keep in mind, they're looking for transgender people getting made fun of. They're looking for transgender people. It's not right. They're looking for this thing to go against what the normal status quo would be when it comes to their opinions on transgender people, right? They want it to be edgy. So they're expecting some backlash, some hate speech maybe. Watch this.
So transgender chicks and women swimming, right? Some people acting like they've just seen a dick in the locker room for the first time. Newsflash, folks, it's not the end of the world. It's just a bit of extra competition. Oh, that's weird.
That's weird.
The uproar is like watching a bunch of Karens at a community pool screaming, "This is unfair," when they can't win with their backstroke. Well,
look at that. The thing completely backfires in Elon's fucking face. Their question was, should transgender athletes be allowed to change in the locker rooms with females, whatever the fuck you want to call them, regular chicks? And they're, once again, they want this thing to say no. It's absolutely not cool. Real men should go in the boys' locker room. Real women should go in the... That's what they want. They want that answer. They don't get it. This is what they get instead. Watch. This is hilarious, dude. This thing completely does a 180 on them.
all right, here we go. So transgender chicks and women swimming, right? Some people acting like they've just seen a dick in the locker room for the first time. Newsflash, folks, it's not the end of the world. It's just a bit of extra competition. Oh, that's weird.
That's weird.
The uproar is like watching a bunch of Karens at a community pool screaming, "This is unfair," when they can't win with their backstroke. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Look.
Okay, we need some work here.
It don't make sense because they don't agree with it.
It's interesting. It's going woke.
Yeah, it's a little
It's like defending the idea of transgender women.
Look at that. If that's not a quote that could be taken out of context, I don't know what the fuck is. It's like defending the idea of like transgenderism, you know? Let's give it up for Mr. Rogan and Mr. Musk really showing us what this X, formerly known as Twitter, Gronk, is really capable of, man. I'm telling you. I thought I was going to need a completely right-wing chat AI bot sometime soon. So I'll wait for those updates. And when they do come along, trust and believe I will be the first one to download it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. All right, so let's talk about this Bert Kreischer on Bussin' with the Boys. So this one is very interesting. We're going to end the episode on this segment as well. This one was very interesting for a couple of different reasons. One of them was, you know, some of the stuff that Bert talked about. Like I said earlier, this guy went from like talking about how he's like a completely shitty father and husband. He's even going as far as to like completely cook his goddamn best friend, Tom Segura, on the goddamn show. And I'm talking, he's roasting this motherfucker. But it's natural, right? That's what comedians do. But he's also lying about some of his comedian friends and some of his celebrity friends, basically talking up some of them as being like completely awesome and good guys when like I know and people like me online know that they're not. Some of those people being John Crist and Jelly Roll. So this was all very interesting stuff to me, and I wanted to bring all that up and, of course, share it with you. Now, we all know Bert says very outlandish shit, and sometimes he actually means it. And when he brought this story up about how he saw a lion at a safari one time in Africa and how he almost thought the lion was going to come after them and how he wanted to basically sacrifice a woman on the trip to get away from it, I thought there was some truth to that. I honestly feel like if Bert was in that situation, he would be the guy to do this. Listen to him talk about this.
Here's what I'll tell you what happened one time.
You would for family. You would for family.
One time.
No. We went on a safari, and it was a travel channel, so I was with a bunch of people, and like film crew and everything, and we got like within 20 feet from a lion, and it was just laying under a tree. It was just laying there, and the lion popped up, and like looked at us, and everyone's assholes clenched. And in that moment, I thought to myself, I just need to push the girl in front of the lion. And I was like, and I had a knife on me, and I was like, and they're like, oh, you're going to use that knife to fight the lion? And I was like, no, I was going to stab the girl, to debilitate her. And then the lion, because she's got to run faster than the slowest person.
Yeah.
And so I can't have cowardice. I'm afraid I'd go to cowardice.
Isn't that insane? They're sitting there talking about, like, you know, how they would want to die honorably and stuff like that. This guy sits there and goes, well, I can't die like a coward, you know? One time I saw a lion, and I thought to myself, man, if I could just stab this poor little innocent girl next to me, if the lion went to attack us, I could totally get away, you know? Not like a coward. You know, this is kind of like the ironic and crazy shit that's coming out of Bert's mouth on a day-to-day basis, right? And like I said, this episode's going to be full of wild stuff, like stupid little stories like that, which obviously that was a hypothetical, but if that was like some sort of real story that Bert's telling, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. He embellishes a lot, different things along those lines, but every now and then, even with these embellishments, if you put the clues together, you can start to see the real Bert Kreischer. You know, you can kind of pick at, like, you know, the certain things that you find the truths in with his character. Like, the reason I brought up that story is because I honestly do feel like Bert is that guy. I feel like if it was a life or death situation, Bert would sacrifice a goddamn baby to get away from a fucking lion. No problem. No problem. No questions asked. Okay? That's truly how I feel. So now, let's listen to Bert bring up one of his comedian friends, John Crist. This one is going to be juicy.
Yeah.
On Sundays.
Dude, yeah, looks like Martin Short in that.
That is not John Crist. I'll tell you that shit right now, dude. I don't know who this comedian is. This guy looks insane. This is like one of those like inbreds from Great Britain. You know what I mean? This guy's like, chip, cheerio, mate. Just have some goddamn tea and crimpets. I married my cousin last week, yeah? This is not John Crist.
I still have, seeing that picture, I have no clue who that is.
His net worth is through the roof. He does like mega churches. Dude, that was the rub. When we started comedy, there's a guy telling you like, yo, if you work clean, you can do churches. Well, I never wanted to do that shit. There's a guy, John Crist, that did that.
Oh yeah, he lives in Nashville.
Dude, he would do like a fucking Sunday 6 o'clock show in a mega church. It's like size, they're like arenas.
Yeah.
And just clean up. He made so much fucking money. He's a great guy. He got canceled. Did you hear this story? This is wild.
This is what we're talking about right here. This story that he's about to tell about John Crist's cancellation is a total fucking lie. Now remember, this is a comedian who was doing the mega church circuit, right? Cleaning up, just like Bert said. This guy was making ass loads of money. Now, if you can fake that, you can make that goddamn money. Now, who wouldn't want to do that? If they could do that, why wouldn't they do that? That's at least how John Crist was thinking, right? Now, Bert's about to tell this story about his quote-unquote soft cancellation. And then I'm about to bust that shit wide the fuck open.
Great guy. He got canceled. Did you hear this story? This is wild. I apologize, John, if I'm perpetuating something, and I love you. You know that.
Fan of the show. He got friend of the show.
Look, he's apologizing now.
Soft cancel because I mean, when you hear this, you're gonna go, huh? Because he took a girl rollerblading, and he tried to kiss her.
That he got canceled for that.
He got canceled. Rollerblading. Oh yeah, you think that? That's why John Crist got canceled for rollerblading? You think that's why John Crist got canceled for trying to kiss some girl? Some poor Christian woman? No. That is not why John Crist got canceled. And I'm going to tell you right now, before I tell you the real reason why, I want to shed some light on how shiesty of a fucking person Bert is for sitting there lying to you, the audience, over this. Bert has to be aware of this. There's no way he's not. If this John Crist guy is such a good friend of Bert's, if Bert loves this guy so much, how would he not know about the real reason behind his canceling? So either John Crist told Bert a lie and Bert's just completely believed it without at least hearing about it somewhat through the grapevine, right? Or Bert knows the truth and he's flat out lying to you. I'll tell you why I feel like he knows the truth and he's flat out lying to you, because if it was the other way around, Bert gets seen with this guy out in public. Bert talks to this guy or something. One of his friends is going to go, hey, man, you sure that you want to, like, be seen hanging around with that John Crist guy? Like, nothing on him, you know? But he did get canceled for X, Y, and Z. So, like, maybe you might want to, you know, for your career, you know? Like, you might want to, you know, calm down. You know, be careful is all I'm saying. I love you, Bert. Just be careful. Somebody's going to say that to him. Maybe Tom might say. So you're trying to tell me you guys got all these high-profile comedian friends. You guys know nothing about this guy's cancellation. You're going to sit there and believe whatever bullshit John Crist feeds to you about it? No. I'm not buying that in the fucking slightest. So let's actually hear about what Mr. John Crist did to get canceled. So I present to you Exhibit A. Christian comedian John Crist apologizes after sexual misconduct allegations. Now, if you just read that and you hear what Bert had just said, that he got soft canceled for taking a girl rollerblading and trying to kiss her, right? This is what Bert is claiming that the cancellation's for. So if you have that in your mind and you read this headline, you could be like, oh, they're just trying to call him trying to kiss her sexual misconduct. That's what they're saying. So this still might be the same thing. Look at this guy right here. You really think that that's all this dude did? You really think that this guy only tried to kiss a girl while taking her rollerblading? You think that? You believe that? I'm going to show you. This is not what happened, okay? This is not what happened in the slightest. So, right off the rip, I'll read you the first line. A Christian comedian and YouTube star has issued a lengthy statement and canceled his tour after allegations surfaced that he used his position to sexually harass and exploit women. So, you take a girl rollerblading and that's enough to cancel your whole entire goddamn tour? That's enough to cancel the whole tour. Is a girl being like, he tried to kiss me once, you know what I mean? That's enough? Wrong. Let me explain to you, the audience, a little bit more. So those allegations, right? Those sexual misconduct allegations, they include, but are not limited to, individually sexting multiple women during the same period of time. Whoa, this is a Christian man. What the fuck happened here? Not only that, he was initiating sexual relationships with married women and women in committed relationships. So this guy was also a fucking homewrecker. Then he was offering show tickets in exchange for sexual favors and repeatedly calling these women late at night while drunk. So he was also basically trying to engage in prostitution with a lot of these women by paying them off in show tickets, out of all things. And not only that, he then continued to harass them on a nightly basis while he was wasted off his ass. Isn't that funny? A lot of these hardcore Christians, right? A lot of them are real big alcoholics. You know, at least a lot of them that I met in my life. It's like they want to really nitpick at people for maybe like smoking a little bit of weed or, committing a little bit of adultery, man. But they don't mind drinking a little bit of the body of Christ on a daily basis. That's totally cool. They get drunk. They beat the fuck out of their wives, maybe hit their kids a little bit. That Sunday confession comes around and the Catholic Church and Jesus Christ are like, you're good. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, right? And then they do shit like John Crist. It's a lot of hypocrites involved in that. And I think that, like, people like John Crist and kind of people like how I just explained to you are kind of the reason why Christians get such a bad name. And that's partially to do with, people thinking that you're stupid if you actually believe in Christianity. That's how stigmatized it's got. All because of hypocrites like Senor John Crist here. But this is somebody that Bert holds in a very high regard. So much so that he actually believed this bullshit story. Or at least he's trying to get you to believe it. Which I believe to be true.
Kiss her.
That he got canceled for that.
He got canceled for rollerblading.
It's like, but in their community, if you say that you're like a Christian And I think he had like vodka in a water bottle or something.
Look, that was the same picture that they even used the picture from the article I just read to you. And they're sitting there feeding you this bullshit like they don't know what this guy actually did. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, it really is like not that bad.
Number one high school move.
Yeah. And he got
But when you're in
canceled
it, you got to be in it.
When you
Look, they're sitting there going, when you're Christian, you got to be Christian, you know? You can't be sexting, trying to get into married girls' pants, you know, like trying to engage in prostitution. These are things you cannot be doing, you know? But let's get beside John Crist and let's focus on our main man, Mr. Bert Kreischer. You know? This is who we're really trying to focus on right now. So let's hear some of the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. Like the fact that he knows he's like not a good stand-up comedian. You know, I never liked Bert's material. As a matter of fact, I've never liked Bert's stand-up so much so that I've never even heard that dumbass machine story that he tells like every goddamn set. You know, it's crazy. Comedians, they talk so much shit about like beating a set to death. Like they'll sit there and go, man, did you hear like this guy? He's been doing like the same routine for like the past 15 years. He doesn't want to like expand on it at all. Bert's been telling that like machine story since he started stand-up. This is like every set he's doing this. He takes his shirt off every fucking goddamn set. He's doing all this. How's nobody getting sick of this already? I think it's more that people are attracted more to like the ambiance of Bert's shows because everybody's getting wasted and having a good time. So it's like college kids and like a bunch of parents that finally got a night off for the babysitter. They're going to go to Bert's show and turn it the fuck up. So by the time they sit down and Bert gets on stage, they're so drunk, it doesn't matter what the fuck comes out of his mouth. They're going to be like, yeah, man, it's a fucking machine, man.
From that day forward, is I was like, I will never talk shit about, like, I'm going to always undersell my performance and over deliver. So with stand up, dude, I've said this and I mean it now. I think I've said it so much I mean it. The only reason people think I'm a great stand up is I hang out with the best stand ups in the world.
I mean, you're hearing it right from the goddamn horse's mouth. This guy is almost like guilt by association. Like he's getting like the outside success from like his friends, you know? He's surrounding himself with like Joe Rogans, Tom Segura's, you know what I mean? He's getting himself in bed with Shane Gillies, you know what I mean? These guys, these are all big juggernauts. And even before all these guys came into play, he started his stand-up career after Will Smith like discovered him from like a Rolling Stone magazine article or some shit. Because he was like a Van Wilder-esque loser in college. Like Rolling Stones was like, dude, this guy's been in school for like 17 years. I don't think he's got a single degree. So they write an article about this guy. Will Smith's like, oh man, that's hot. We could make a goddamn TV show. That's hot, you know? So that's how his career started. Just a very lucky dice roll you got there. And since that happened, you know, right from the rip, Will Smith's name's been on this guy. So of course he's going to get something from that. Then he just happens to, you know, get connected with the bigger names. He's opening for this one. He's opening for that one. Now he's friends with Tom Segura, Joe Rogan. But so now he's like in. He's like a made man. He doesn't have to be good at stand-up now. Like I said, he's just got to get people drunk enough before his set to where he can get on stage and just say and do whatever the fuck he wants. So that's like crazy to hear him say that.
Shit about, like, I'm going to always undersell my performance and over deliver. So with stand up, dude, I've said this and I mean it now. I think I've said it so much I mean it. The only reason people think I'm a great stand up is I hang out with the best stand ups in the world. I mean, look at that. You surround yourself with great white sharks.
You're good in the storytelling realm too.
The storytelling.
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
Look, these two fucking jamokes sitting there trying to butter out Bert's bread, trying to butter bread. You know what I mean? Look, you guys don't have to, you know, do all that. Try to make this guy feel better about himself. Let him tell the truth for once. For once in your goddamn life, let this guy actually speak the truth, okay? That's what we need right now. And he's about to further his point by basically talking about how Joe kind of does the same thing. Like, Joe has this like, hey, I want you to succeed more than I succeed mentality. He does that because he wants you to kind of have a reason to be like, man, I owe it to Joe for that. I'll never say something bad about Joe. He always had my back. You know what I mean? Like Joe's like the comedy GOAT in my opinion. And that to me is why Joe has always been like that. And this is Bert basically saying all of this on air.
But that's Shane's destroying it right now.
Man,
and you hear people talk shit,
crushing it.
and you're like, oh, that's interesting, because you didn't say that when he was opening for you. You didn't say that when he was younger. Now you're saying it. It's. I've watched it happen to a lot of people. I'll tell you I can just tell you who it doesn't happen to. Doesn't happen to Tom. Doesn't happen to Joe. Joe Rogan wants you to be more famous than him the second he fucking meets you. Joe was the most selfless individual. When we
look, nobody else finds that a little bit suspicious, huh? So Joe Rogan wants you to be more successful than him the second that he meets you. So he doesn't know anything. You could be the worst stand-up in the whole club, but he still wants you to do better than him. Why is that? And the whole reason he even made this comment is because he's sitting there basically saying, it's funny, Shane Gillis, he's killing it right now. And people, they always want to talk shit when people start to make it, Like people talk shit about Shane. I'm like, where were you talking that shit when you were opening for him? Or when he was opening for you? Where was that shit talking then? Then he goes to say, who doesn't ever get shit talked? Tom Segura and Joe Rogan. What do we know about those two? I'll tell you what I know about those two. And why they may not get shit talked as much as other comedians, right? Tom Segura kind of has the biggest comedy podcast network out there right now. Your Mom's House Network has a bunch of different shows on it. Your Mom's House is one of the biggest podcasts out, whether it's comedy or otherwise. So that show, there might be a lot of comedians that would hold their tongue to either get appeared on one of those podcasts or possibly even get a show themselves on that network, right? A lot of incentive for people to not want to talk shit about Tom Segura. Now, what about Joe Rogan? Nah, Joe doesn't have his own network, right? But Joe might as well fucking be a network in and of itself. This guy's show gets more views than almost any other show on the planet. Joe's not competing with he's only competing with India at this point. You know what I mean? He's only competing with the most densely populated places in the world. Everything else doesn't even hold a candlestick to Joe Rogan. So of course, there's another incentive for people to not want to talk shit on Joe Rogan. I mean, nowadays it doesn't hold as much weight as it used to, but you used to get on Joe Rogan and then you fucking made it, guys. You went on Joe Rogan, your career was practically set after that. You didn't need any of that other shit, So it's kind of crazy, right? That he's sitting there saying, oh, Joe Rogan and Tom Segura, yeah, they never get shit talked. People shit talk Shane, they don't shit talk them, but nobody ever puts those dots together, huh?
I've watched it happen to a lot of people. I can just tell you who it doesn't happen to. Doesn't happen to Tom, doesn't happen to Joe. Joe Rogan wants you to be more famous than him the second he fucking meets you. Joe was the most selfless individual.
See, Bert's basically doing an example of what I'm talking about right now. Joe has done so much for Bert that Bert cannot say a bad thing about him. Bert legitimately will not say a bad thing about Joe because of how much Joe has done for Bert. Joe is the only reason that we are plagued with that fucking machine story. Did you know that? Yeah. So if it wasn't for Joe sitting there gaslighting Bert and saying yo, that's a hilarious story, man. You got to tell that story on stage. Bert would have probably never told it. So you can all go and thank Joe Rogan for whoever was unlucky enough to hear that machine story, and you could definitely thank Joe Rogan for any of the people that were dumb enough to go and watch that goddamn machine movie out in theaters. I couldn't even watch the full fucking trailer. I saw Mark Hamill was in it. I was like, what the fuck world do we live in? Ethan Klein. So now, we're about to get past all this Joe Rogan talk. They're going to start talking about Senor Jelly Roll, okay? Now, I got a very interesting clip to show you guys a little bit later when they start talking about Jelly Roll. But what we're going to talk about now, or what I'm going to show you in particular, is them talking about doing like a 5K run with Jelly Roll, right? You got to see the way this motherfucker looks after the run. It is insane.
Finish line, and Jelly starts crying. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm not gonna cry. Don't worry, I'm done crying.
You can cry.
I'm not crying.
You're
Jelly
safe.
gets emotional.
You're safe here. Yeah,
Jelly
you're safe here.
gets emotional, and he goes, and he's like, "I think you might have just changed my life." And Bunny starts crying, and she's holding Leanne. The four of us are like sobbing, crossing the finish line, and it's true. It's like, I mean, you guys have never really been, had like health issues or had gotten your life's never gotten away from you with your bodies. But guys like me and Jelly, I was 285.
God damn, what the fuck? Look at this fucking. Look. This Shamu. This is Shamu right here. Jelly Roll in here looking like a goddamn Shamu after this fucking Porosos 5K, whatever the fuck it is. Look, this guy is doing the whole goddamn shit wearing a sweatshirt. Now, before everybody starts jumping down my throat, I understand what he's trying to do. Sweat out all the weight, you know what I mean? This is cool. I'm on his side when it comes to this losing weight shit, okay? It's still fucking hilarious that this guy actually looks like Free Willy. Like he looks like a wet seal right here. This is insane. With his arms all up. Imagine the photographer taking this picture all close to him and stuff. Imagine how this dude fucking smells. Oh, that's bad right there. That is bad right there. So, yeah, he's out here looking like a goddamn Shamu, right? He's doing this whole, 5K shit, Mr. Senior Jelly Roll, right? And you're going to see, watch, they even get him in some goddamn water. Watch this.
Last time, the fucking time before Beer Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And Jelly's had weight issues. And just that little spark of getting your health back together and getting in control of it. And just getting into a place where you are.
Oh, yeah. They actually show him in the water a little bit later on. I'll show you guys that time code right now. Because this one's actually going to play into this clip that I have for this little Jelly Roll expose that we have going on. Okay? Because this one's going to be kind of crazy. I've almost scared to show you guys this clip because of the fact that we're on YouTube. I'm a little nervous, okay? But we're going to show you because we're going to do the expose the way that it should be done, okay? We might have to blur a couple things based on the stuff that's going to be on screen. You'll get the context a little later. So first, let's hear about how these guys view Jelly Roll. A lot of people tend to view this guy as the kindest soul ever. These guys are no exception to that. And this shit makes me fucking sick because I know the real JR.
All right, I'm in if you're in. But I love him to death, man. I'm so happy for his success. He's the sweetest guy.
Look at this Shamu mother. Look at this. They got this guy in the goddamn water. Tell me that's not Free Willy, man. This guy is fucking free. The whole thing. You ever see that movie? The whale's going over, jumping from one body of water to the other. He gets free on the other side. The kid's underneath him. He puts his hand. He just grazes. He grazes Willy, This is Free Willy. This was, you guys, if you ever wondered what happened to that whale, now you know, okay?
In the world.
Dude, he really
He's
does
the best.
have that.
I mean, you don't understand. He went and did Fully Loaded this year. He did the first week. I didn't pay him. I didn't cover his tour bus. I didn't cover his private jets. He did it on his own. He came and did it. And I was like, dude, I gotta pay you back somehow. He's like, no, I just want to be with you. That's like a real friend. I love him. I love him to death.
Yeah. He is the kindest soul.
Listen,
yes.
Listen to the way
just
these
know,
guys talk
life,
about him.
I think to myself, man, what was he like when he was in prison and was wrapped up in the wrong stuff, to where he has such a perspective now and he's able to talk to absolutely everybody and have this perspective that you want to do nothing but root for him.
I'll tell you exactly. Do you hear this? This guy's what was Jelly Roll like? What was he like back then before he was famous? To where now he's the nicest dude you'll ever meet in any room ever. If you haven't picked up on it by now, spark yourself up another little couple hits of that joint or take a little bong rip or something. Trust me, for this next clip, you're going to want a couple hits to take the goddamn edge off. Okay, so have a couple. Trust me, you're going to need it. So now they're sitting there talking about how kind of a soul he is, right? Trying to picture what kind of guy this dude was like back in the day. I'll tell you, if you meet somebody who's overly nice like this, someone who could just talk to anybody, is so nice to everybody, that's like that chameleon-esque attitude of like a con man almost, right? It's like them trying to overcompensate for how bad of a person they were in their past life. And I'm not saying that people can't change. I'm saying it's very hard. It's very hard. You know what I mean? Especially you get some money involved in shit like that. You start getting rich. People start getting rich. And then you have money behind closed doors. Who the fuck knows what kind of person you're going to end up becoming, all right? Look at Diddy. You know, a lot of people had a lot of good shit to say about him until this year. So, you know, these things can change. So that's how I picture Jelly Roll. I picture him as somebody who he very much is trying to like make up for something, right? So let's listen to these guys talk about how awesome of a dude he is one more time before I bust this thing wide the fuck open and we show you this next clip.
Like, all right, I'm in if you're in. But I love him to death, man. I'm so happy for his success. He's the sweetest guy in the world.
Dude, he really deserves that.
I mean, you don't understand. He went and did Fully Loaded this year. He did the first week. I didn't pay him. I didn't cover his tour bus. I didn't cover his private jets. He did it on his own. Like, he came and did it. And I was like, dude, I gotta pay you back somehow. He's like, no, I just want to be with you. That's like a real friend. I love him to death.
Yeah. He is the kindest soul.
But he really is.
And you just know, like, life, like, I think to myself, like, man, what was he like when he was in prison and was wrapped up in the wrong stuff, to where he has such a perspective now and he's able to talk to absolutely everybody and have this perspective that you want to do nothing but root for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the level of purity is second to none, especially.
The level of purity is second to none, this guy says. Boom. Yes, that's a very good line. These guys are very insightful, the way that they talk about Jelly Roll like this. You know what I mean? It kind of like, it almost makes me feel like maybe I'm wrong. You know, like, do I got it wrong when it comes to Mr. Roll? You know? But then I found this clip online, right? And I'll tell you the origins of it before we actually get into it, because like, this is a very spicy clip. Like, I legitimately had to like blur the majority of this clip due to what's in it, you know? And I'm not going to explain it all because you're all adults here and I'm sure you can figure it out for yourself. So I came across this clip once again from a good friend of mine named Mike David from Red Bar. You know, long time ago, Red Bar's covering Jelly Roll, right? He goes, hey man, I ended up finding this clip of Jelly Roll. Very spicy clip. I ended up seeing it on this guy's show. I'm fucking shocked. I'm like, holy shit. So I know all this stuff about, I know who this guy really is. I'm sitting there watching the world fucking praise this dude, lift him up. I'm watching him go up, up, up in the goddamn charts. And little does everybody else know that this clip actually exists. Unless you're a big fan of Red Bar, I've never seen this clip anywhere else. And of course, Red Bar, they got the green light because they're on their own independent platform. They played the clip in its entirety. I cannot do that. We're not there yet. So I'm going to warn you guys on that now. But the reason why I never brought this clip up was because I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it for myself. So I just held on to that information in my head because I wasn't going to like pull the segment from Red Bar and like chop it up, and it just wouldn't work that way. You know what I mean? Then one day I'm scrolling through Reddit. I see a Kill Tony, somebody posts on the Kill Tony subreddit. And in that post, they ended up talking shit about Jelly Roll. Because Jelly Roll had been doing like the Madison Square Garden stuff and this and that. Now Jelly Roll is starting to kind of like almost out the music industry for basically people being able to like buy #1 on the charts, this and that. So for some reason, someone brought him up in the Kill Tony subreddit. I click on the comments. I start scrolling through just to kind of read what's going on. I see a link to this video, the actual video. Now, that link was on a very spicy website. I had to then rip this video from that spicy website and doctor the video up myself just to be able to even show you what the fuck is even happening here. This is who Jelly Roll was before he got famous. So you remember this guy is like, I wonder what kind of dude Jelly Roll was like, man. Like, I wonder if he was like some crazy insightful dude, like when he went to prison and stuff, man. Because like now he's like the nicest dude ever, man. And the other guy's like, the purity is just off the charts. It's second to none. It's second to none, the purity with this one. Jelly Roll is hands down the purest soul I've ever met in my entire life. This guy is over at a gathering of the Juggalos doing this.
Hey, homie, get it. Get that shit. Right here.
Look at this. So you saw what we just saw right there, right? Very blurry stuff. You can picture in your mind, I'm sure you can put together what's happening there, right? There's a very big crowd of people. And then I had just one little two people over there blurred out, right? Now you hear what they're all saying to each other. You see this guy right here. There's this dude in the crowd. That's Jelly Roll. Right? So now let's go back and see what's happening here. And keep in mind, Jelly Roll is in the crowd right now while this is all happening.
Hey, homie, get it. Get that shit. Fuck that bitch. Right here. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch.
Did you see how into it he was? Look at him. Look at this guy. He's like bobbing his head back and forth. They're going, fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. Jelly Roll's there. He's in the crowd.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. What? Fuck that bitch. What? Fuck that bitch. That's right over right there. That's fucking moan. General.
What the fuck? Bro, was that... Dude, was that not the fucking scariest jump scare you've seen in a long ass time? This guy comes out of the left frame like, what the fuck? Jelly Roll Esquire himself. Look at this shit. This guy comes out like it's a scary movie. He just comes out of nowhere.
General TV gathering the Juggalos. Yeah. General TV gathering the Juggalos. Watch it. Oh!
Look, this guy, this is who everyone's talking about. This is the most purest guy. This shit is happening over at a concert, right? Once again, you put the clues together yourself. Watch this shit, goddamn. This is happening over at a concert. Who knows what's going through these people's heads right now? Who knows what's going through these two blurry, pixelated blobs' minds? You know? One of them might not be in the right state of mind at all. You might actually be watching, like I might be blurring a crime, okay? Who knows? This guy is sitting in the crowd, front row seats. He's in first class. You know what I mean? He's in first class during this event. He's over here gathering to the Juggalos, baby. This Jelly Roll, baby. Jelly Roll TV, baby. This Jelly Roll. Oh, yeah, we got Jelly Roll. We got naked bitches up in this Jelly Roll TV, man. This Mr. Will Compton, this is who the guy was. Remember you asked that question? You remember that? Look, this is who he is.
General TV gathering the Juggalos. Watch it. Oh!
Watch this, he says. Watch this.
Hey, man. World Star Hip.
Look, World Star Hip Hop. Watch, look at this one frame. Watch. Look at those fucking teeth. Look at this. Holy shit. What the fuck? Yo, each one of these teeth is like each one of these teeth on the bottom row of his mouth are like a full city block away from each other. That's how far apart those goddamn teeth are right now. You see what I'm saying? Your teeth got to be closer together than this. Okay? You cannot be in... He looks like one of the, like that Uncle Fester dude from Addams Family or some shit. Who's like the creepy bald one? I might have the names wrong. He looks like that. This guy looks crazy, bro. So this shit's happening. He's co-signing all this. This video is for Jelly Roll TV. You hear him saying this. Jelly Roll TV, baby. Jelly Roll TV. Watch this.
Hey, man. World Star Hip Hop, man. Jelly Roll TV. Gather.
Jelly Roll TV.
I'll be right here. All right.
Look, therapeutic music 4 coming soon. JellyRoll615.com, baby. Jelly Roll TV, baby. Jelly Roll TV. We got girls getting fucking gang raped over the goddamn juggalos, gathering the juggalos. Jelly Roll TV. You know what I mean? This is the guy. This is the dude. Will Compton and Bert and this other dude. I don't know who this mustache fucking jamoke is. They're sitting there praising this dude. This is the kindest soul. He's the kindest soul that they know. Watch this. I'm going to show you this one more time.
I didn't cover his tour bus. I didn't cover his private jets. He did it on his own. Like, he came and did it. And I was like, dude, I gotta pay you back somehow. He's like, no, I just want to be with you. That's like a real friend. I love him. I love him to death.
Yeah. He is the kind.
We just watched that guy. Remember that guy? Remember him? We just saw him before all the face tattoos and the veneers and the big gold chains and shit. He was out there gathering the juggalos, man. He was filming girls who were like half out of their minds. You know what I mean? No clothes on, all that shit. You guys remember that? I mean, we only just watched it 30 seconds ago. This is the kindest soul.
Kindest soul.
But he really is.
And you just know, like, life, like, I think to myself, like, man, what was he like when he was in prison and was wrapped up in the wrong stuff, to where he has such a perspective now and he's able to talk to absolutely everybody and have this perspective that you want to do nothing but root for him.
That perspective, I'm going to tell you right now, it's overcompensation. It's him going, man, I hope nobody online ever finds that video of me over at the Juggalo concert. Like, I don't even know if that girl remembered the next morning, you know? Like, I think she actually called like my producer's phone and was like, hey man, can you guys scrub that footage? Can you not post that online? So I'm gonna be as nice as I possibly can to every single person that I meet, right? And I'm gonna hope that they don't ever find out any kinds of dirt on me. Cause the second that they find out some dirt on me, somebody save me. You know, this is the guy that they're talking about. Okay? How don't people see through this shit? I don't understand this. So now remember, we were playing that Crack Amico song, right? Funny as fuck. Bert ends up bringing up this Crack Amico on the show. He tries to pretend like he's never even heard of this dude, right? Watch this shit.
Also, if you love me, I can't allow that to affect me either. I've got to make sure that my day is controlled within my parameters and I can have a beautiful day with no exterior. I don't, you know? So that's why I don't fuck around with comments. That's why I don't fuck around online.
Have you always had that conclusion?
No.
Yeah. No. What was the thing that was like, all right, I can realize that this is affecting me way more than it should, good or bad?
Oh, there was there was a period, I think probably right when the movie came out, that I would read. There was
after Tom showed.
Yeah, it was definitely Tom.
Yeah.
Tom lives in
really
Tom
feel
reads
this way?
comments, Shane reads comments, Mark Norman reads comments. They all read, everyone, there are people that read their own Reddit pages of themselves.
Now see, look, this is a cope, dude. This is a crazy ass cope, and I hate when these comedians do this shit. Joe Rogan tries to do this. Now Bert's trying to ride this train where they go, I don't read the comments, positive or negative. It just fucks up my day, man. It just, you shouldn't do that. Joe will be the biggest proponent. He goes, you should never read the comments. It's going to fuck with your psyche. But here's why they're partially wrong. The comments kind of help you gauge on like where you're doing good towards your audience and where you're kind of falling off or missing the mark a little bit, right? Like sometimes it's very easy to kind of like get caught up in a certain rut that you think might be working for your show and your audience might feel completely different. And then when you don't listen to your audience, I mean, I get that you shouldn't get captured by your audience. You know, they can't run your life or your show. So definitely keep those boundaries, yes. But you should still at least hear the feedback from your audience, right? because they're the ones that are investing the most time into you. So if you want them to listen to Bertcast, Two Bears, One Cave, fucking you go on this show, I'm doing what Something's Burning, I'm cooking over here, we got Fully Loaded podcast, that you want them to listen to all that and join your Patreons, right? You gotta have to kind of like at least listen to what they have to say to you. You know what I mean? You don't have to apply every single thing, but they are going to be the ones to steer you in the right direction. You're just too stupid to filter out the ones that are complete hate and the ones that are actual criticism. So that's your fault. So same thing with people like Joe Rogan. And it's funny because Joe had tried mentioning this once to like Matt McCusker and Shane Gillis. And they were like, well, how do you know like where your audience stands with you? Joe's like, I don't. I just don't care. As long as my show's getting the most views, I'm making all this goddamn money for these advertisements. Why would I give a fuck? They're nothing to me. So that's kind of like how I feel. When you hear somebody, a comedian or anyone say, I don't read the comments, it's because of that. Or it's because they're doing such a shitty job and they know they're doing such a shitty job. They cannot bear to see the truth. This is what I hear when I hear stuff like this come out of Bert's mouth. We don't read the comments. Me and Joe, we don't read the comments. We're cool as fuck.
Tom, Tom lives in Tom reads comments. Shane reads comments. Mark Norman reads comments. They all read. Everyone. There are people that read their own Reddit pages of themselves.
Oh my God.
I just was like, dude, there's a kid. I remember telling someone this. There's a kid who doesn't have a great life. He's fucking miserable. He works at fucking Walmart, and he maybe stocks stuff in the back. His dad left his mom and him a long time ago. He lives in an apartment in Nashville. I don't know this kid, but this is a kid. It's got to be. He's losing his hair. He's skinny. He's never really had any muscle structure. Women have never really taken to him. He doesn't have a lot of friends. What he does have is podcasting, and God damn it, he hates Bert Kreischer.
You know who he's talking about right now? He's talking about this Crack-A-Miko. He's talking about good old Crack-A-Miko, These songs right here.
Crack-A-Miko. I saw him at Skanks Fest recently. He was terrified of me. Like he didn't. I wanted to say hi to him, and he ran away.
See? So this is all a lie. Bert's lying his ass off right now. He's sitting there saying, there was this kid. He worked at Walmart. But he's pretending that he doesn't know who he's talking about, right? He knows. He's talking about this Crack-A-Miko guy. Because Crack right now got the hottest diss track on Bert. I mean, listen to this shit.
How much is enough? I'm smoking Bert and Leanne in a Dutch, whether it's
ooh, see? He's smoking Bert and Leanne in a goddamn Dutch right now, okay? Bert's sitting there trying to pretend like he's like some random that works at Walmart is like a loser and just hates him, right? Look at this.
Well, in real life, I don't care about this person. However, if this person leaves a negative comment and I read it, all of a sudden this person owns my fucking day.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's impossible. I can't allow that to be a real thing. I can't allow this kid who works at Walmart, shelving stuffs. His employees don't respect him. His dad left his mom when he was young. He's got nothing going on. But goddamn it, he is in the fucking head of this comedian. And
give a fuck about him. You too busy filling up a Cardi glass. 52 with his dope daughters asking college bitches where the
look,
party at.
Bert's gonna sit there and pretend he don't give a shit about this. This guy like is going viral right now. All he has to do is drop a couple bars about how fucking shitty Bert is. This guy gets like 10,000 new followers now. You know what I mean? Bert's upset because this song is a goddamn bop.
Motherfucker, you a hack, motherfucker, you a crime, motherfucker, oh God. I piss on your pops, I shit on your mama and bust at your broad.
Look at that. Shit on your pops, piss on your mama, bust on your broad. You trying to tell me Bert doesn't know about this guy? Like that song is gonna be stuck in my head for the next 3 goddamn weeks. Okay? So now watch, he even goes as far as to try to pretend like he doesn't even know Crack-A-Miko's name. He talks about how the guy was at the quote in the beginning of that song is from this episode. We're about to listen to him say it.
And I'm fucking sitting there and I can't enjoy my polar plunge. because this fucking kid at Walmart, I get this kid.
Look, Bert goes, and I can't enjoy being fucking rich? I read this comment, it ruins my day, and I can't even fucking be rich in peace, goddammit? That speaks volumes about your insecurity levels, man. If you're rich, you got a fucking polar plunge. Like, you should not care about this. And the fact that you're talking about it on air. I mean, come on. Who's losing here? Who's losing, Bert? Come on now.
I'm in my sauna.
Yeah.
I'm fucking. It's
fucking
wild
rich.
That was a real scenario in my life. That there would be someone that would, and you know, there was like, what's even crazier. I'm gonna give this kid a shout out because there's a kid. I forgot his name. Cracked D'Amico.
Cracked with the ED. Cracked D'Amico. Yeah. Okay. See, he takes that one lightly.
I forgot his name. Cracked D'Amico. Okay.
Crack D'Amico.
Shout out to the kid. He's very talented. Crack Amico. I think is his name. And look, we have a weird history because he wrote a really hateful song about me and Tom. That Ari was like, I don't know why people love the negativity, but Ari's like, you gotta watch it. So I watch it and I'm like, I didn't enjoy it. And I mean, it's horrible. Don't pull it. I don't even want to see it. And
Sure, you were about to too, weren't you?
Oh, it's bad. Yeah. It's bad. I mean, it hurt my feelings. Like it fucked a weekend up for me.
Look, so this is what's so funny about this. Bert is sitting there saying he just got done painting this picture of like who this other random commenter is, right? He was trying to paint that picture of this Crack Amico guy. Now he's trying to sit there and pretend like he's like talking about a completely different person. He's not, okay? Like he's just a loser, okay? That's pretty much it. Now watch, listen to this guy. He even is cooking Tom Segura, dude. Like this guy can't stop with the bullshit. He's lying about John Crist. He's lying about fucking Jelly Roll. He's sitting there talking shit about Crack Amico, which is not going to end up well for him, okay? Now we're about to watch him fucking cook the shit out of his best friend.
That affect you in certain ways that have a positive effect in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to see who people see Tom as. I just know Tom as a guy who counts your burps in a car. You know? Like that's Tommy. Like I know him as the fat Tom. I don't think of him as having money ever. I know that he has money, but all I remember is poor Tom, who would plug his phone in across the room because he only had one charger, and then he'd just walk across the room to get his fucking phone. Like I only know, like I remember when he got addicted to pecan pies, and and he started eating like 2 or 3 pecan pies a day.
2 or 3 pecan pies? What the fuck, yo? So this is just the light of it. This is just Bert warming up, right? He's about to really start lacing into Tom. Listen to this.
Dang.
Oh, he used to travel with hot sauce in his pocket. He had hot sauce on him all the time.
This guy used to have what? Hot sauce. He used to have hot sauce on him all the goddamn time. Think about that. This guy, Mr. GQ Tom Segura, Mr. fucking, I've eaten at Alinea in Chicago. I've eaten at Le Puy in fucking France. I'm a fucking connoisseur. You know, I'm a extravagant man. I'm very fancy now. This guy used to travel around with hot sauce in his goddamn pocket. Did you know that? Listen to Bert roast this fuck.
Dude, I love my fucking favorite moment of Tommy is, and this is worthy of someone Googling and watching for yourself. We went to Hawaii, me and Tom, and with Russell Peters. And the very first day, Tom's hairy as fuck. And I go, dude, let me shave your back. And he goes, you sure? And I said, yeah, let me shave your back. So I shave his back. And he's shaving his back. I realized
he's doing what? This motherfucker's shaving Tom Segura's back now in Hawaii. Like, not only are you roasting him, you're embarrassing the fuck out of him.
So much hair on him that, like, I was like, dude, your armpit hair connects with your chest hair. That shouldn't happen. I go, let me hollow that out for you. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I'll just clean it up. I'm going to clean it up so it looks defined. It'll look like you have muscles. And he's like,
so now Bert's telling this story about how he's getting ready to shape up Tom's back hair, right? They're playing that song. What is it like? It's like that song from the old movies. It's like, kiss me out by the bearded barley, ring, ring. And Bert's like, be like buzzing Tom's back hair. He's getting like some definition in there and stuff like that. This is like what's happening with the story.
You sure? And I was like, yeah. I'm drunk. He's drunk. And I shave his one tit, like to hollow it out. And as I pull back... I realize it looks like his tits are wearing sunglasses.
God damn.
He gets fucking livid because it's our first day in Hawaii and he looks ridiculous. And I can't stop fucking laughing.
God damn, look at what the fuck is this? Tom Segura? I never even knew he was that fat. That's fucking big. He's like fatter than Bert is now.
I'm crying laughing. It's the hardest I've ever laughed. Because it looks insane, and now he has to walk around Hawaii looking like this all fucking week.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know he was that fat.
Oh,
dude.
Bro.
Oh, bro. Oh.
Now watch. Oh, you see Bert's getting wound up. Bert's starting to bring it back, right? He's getting ready to roast him. He's getting ready to roast him. Watch. Will Compton's talking about Tom's weight. Get ready for this.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know he was that fat.
Oh,
dude.
bro. Oh, bro. Oh, hold on.
Look up some of his earlier
If there's ever been, if there's ever been an ad for Ozempic, let me tell you, this fucking guy, he was so fucking fat. He was, type in, just have fun and Google Fat Tom. And it is fucking insane how fat he was.
Massive.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Massive.
Oh my God. And you know, he was like a stud growing up. Like recruited to play football places, jawline, chin. Look at that's not him. That's not him.
Sherm's out there grabbing another twee. He'll get you. He'll come back and be able to dial it all.
I'll tell you
in.
the one thing that I wish I had.
That's him.
I think that. I don't
Or
know.
is that
I don't know if he
Photoshop?
was
That's
that
him.
fat.
That's him.
Wait to. Oh my God! Look at this shit, bro. That is fucking Tom Segura, right? What the fuck? Bro, look at this. And how perfect. Look at the zoom in I got. See? Look, on the left, there's Tom now. That's what Tom used to look like, bro. That is insane. Look, this is the same guy who was making fun of Bert for his McDonald's order, which, mind you, is 8 cheeseburgers, 1 Big Mac, and a large fry. Tom was doubling that shit back in the day. You had to have been. He had to have been doubling that if he was looking like this. Tom right now is looking like holding the microphone is causing him to lose his breath. Holy shit. Bert is classic, killing his goddamn best friend right here. And for that, we love him. But before we end this segment, we got to listen to the way this guy talks about his goddamn wife and how he's performing his goddamn fatherly duties. And then we'll end the episode on this one, folks. Listen to this asshole.
But I don't know. So then cut to probably 4 or 5 years later. I'm married to Leanne. We have Georgia and Isla. We're broke. We're piss broke. I mean, honestly, I remember Daniel Tosh coming over to pick me up. We were going to go play poker.
Oh, what a legend.
And I said, I needed $100 from Leanne. And she said, we don't have it. And I said, no, just give me $100. She goes, no, we don't have $100. I said, babe, I'm not going to lose it. Just give me $100. She goes, honey, I can't find $100 to give you. And Daniel Tosh was like, I'll give you $100 to end this conversation. We were broke, right? And she sent me to Ralph's to go get milk for the girls. And I skateboarded to Ralph's, and with whatever money she'd given me, I bought myself a 40 of Foster's, like a big.
So listen to this shit. Look, and good timing. They pull up this photo of Bert's family. These are his 2 girls that he's supposed to be getting milk for, right? They're so broke that his wife can't give him $100 to go gamble with Daniel Tosh. You know what I mean? That's broke, okay? You can't go gambling with Daniel Tosh. You're broke, okay? So that's how broke they are. This girl sends this poor woman right here, sends this man to the store to go get milk for these 2 young girls. He skateboards to the store, and the first thing he buys is a goddamn 40 of Foster's. What the fuck kind of asshole is this?
Milk for the girls. And I skateboarded to Ralph's, and with whatever money she'd given me, I bought myself a 40 of Foster's, like a big oil can. And I was skating home listening to Modest Mouse. And I was just skateboarding and I was fucking, and I literally said to myself in that moment, I was on Detroit Street. I went, I'm happy as fuck right now. Like, I'm really happy. And she was watching me from the balcony. And as I got up there, she goes, don't ever lose that boy. That guy that just killing a 40, just skateboarding, just smiling ear to fucking ear. And I swear to God, and I talk in hyperbole, but like every day I get with that chick is like fucking that. It's like.
So now listen to this. This is almost seeming like a very heartfelt moment, right? It's obviously a lie. He's even saying it himself. I'm speaking in hyperbole. This guy's wife probably chewed him the fuck out and was like, where's the fucking goddamn milk? What are you doing? You're supposed to be coming back with milk for the girls. Now they're crying. You're over here wasted off your Fosters and shit. He's telling the story as if his wife was like, Bert, never lose that boy. Never lose that boy who goes to the store with the money that I sent them when we don't even have a pot to piss in and goes and buys himself a beer instead of buying milk for our girls. Never lose that, Bert. Never, ever lose that man. And he's trying to turn this into like a heartfelt thing. He's like, my wife is the greatest, bro. He's like, I'm telling you right now, she's like a way down to earth chick. Like, ain't no better woman than my woman. Listen to the way he's talking about this woman.
Fun as fuck, man. I never thought that chick would be the one to give me all that. Like, I thought she'd have to have way bigger tits, bronze skin, blonde hair, 6 feet. Like, I thought that was the chick. But this little fucking redneck midget.
What the fuck? This poor woman. She has to get talked to like this on air, bro. You have any idea how lucky you are that this girl even had a kid with you? You're like the most disgusting person on earth. Okay? So like the fact that this woman is like degraded herself to even get in the same bed as you is a miracle. You're going to talk about this girl like that. Okay? And that is why we love Bert. You know what I mean? What did we learn from this episode? We learned that Bert likes to cook his best friend in any way that he can, which is kind of understandable being that he's a comedian. But what's not understandable is he also likes to lie about some of his comedian friends and their behavior, such as John Crist and Jelly Roll. We also learned that Bert pretty much views his wife as like a redneck midget. And for that, we thank you. Let's turn up a little bit of music and we'll get ready to call this an episode, you know what I mean? Let's see what else we got playing on the music sphere. I can deal with that. Yeah, okay. So, as always, I'd like to thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Lost Aux Media, where we make you take a second look at what you just watched. Be sure to catch audio episodes every Wednesday at 5 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you listen to your favorite podcasts. We also have video episodes that go up on YouTube same day at 4 p.m. That's at youtube.com/@LostAUX Media. That's youtube.com/@LostAux Media. We upload audio at 5 a.m. and video at 4 p.m. So that way, on your way to work, you can listen to the episodes, and when you get home, you can watch them. All right, I'm feeling a little stony baloney, and I hope you enjoyed your time because I know I enjoyed my time with you. Until next week, goodbye.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been scheming this for a while, since I saw your set of eyes moving really slow. I took some time to play out my cards, trying to lower down your guard. But do you have to lose?
Is this the gay look? Is this gay you? Is this gay you? Is that gay you? We done followed Tony for a long way, the human headshot, and now we done seen how he gets his way through Hollywood. Look at that headband. You got anything you want to say to the American public? Okay, we're gone.
Other than I can prove that I'm actually straight.
Okay.
Random girl.
Hey, you got to fondle a little bit. Got to fondle if you're really straight, man.